The receptionist reached for a coffee cup while my brother was still explaining that I had never been there. She dropped things off, Ryan said. That's not the same as visiting. My father stood beside him in the rehabilitation center lobby, leaning on a black cane he hated. His favorite gray cardigan was folded over Ryan's arm. The cardigan was supposedly why we had all ended up back there, 4 days after Dad came home, though Ryan could have picked it up alone. I had come for the medication chart. Ryan had come to make sure everyone understood that whatever I had done was less than whatever he had done. The receptionist, Loretta, set a cardboard sleeve around the cup. Dark roast, 1 cream, no sugar. She said it without asking. Ryan stopped talking. Loretta smiled at me. You're late today. Behind her, the clock read 10:17. For 6 weeks, she had mostly seen me before 7. Dad looked at the cup, then at me. His mouth tightened on the side the stroke had weakened. I waited for him to say something. I wasn't even hoping for an apology. Just one plain sentence. Claire was here. Ryan gave a small laugh. You must be thinking of somebody else. Loretta's smile disappeared. My father still said nothing. That was the moment I finally understood that the argument had never been about where I'd been. It was about where they believed I would stay, no matter what they said about me. 6 weeks earlier, Dad had called me because a jar of spaghetti sauce had expired. Not because he'd eaten it, not because he felt sick. He had found it in the back of his pantry and considered the date on the lid a family emergency. It says March, he told me. I was at my desk correcting a payroll report because one of our warehouse supervisors had somehow clocked 29 hours in a single Tuesday. Throw it away. It's unopened. Then it'll be fresh garbage. Dad was quiet for a beat. Your mother wouldn't have wasted food. Mom had been dead 5 years, and she had absolutely wasted food. She had once thrown away an entire ham because she decided it smelled judgmental. Death had turned her into a patient homemaker who labeled leftovers and never raised her voice. Mom would have made you smell it, I said. I did smell it. Why would you smell it? To see if it was bad. So now it's open. That's not the point. This was how Dad and I talked. Anyone overhearing us might have thought we disliked each other. In fact, we could spend 40 minutes disagreeing about a jar and hang up feeling reassured that the other person was still alive. I told him to throw it out and promised to check the rest of the pantry on Sunday. He said that wasn't necessary, which meant he expected me by noon. Ryan called 20 minutes later. Dad says you're cleaning out his kitchen. I'm throwing away expired food? Don't go crazy. He has canned stuff that lasts forever. Thank you, Professor Can. I'm serious. He gets weird when people touch Mom's things. The spaghetti sauce isn't Mom's thing. It might have been something she bought. It expired 3 months ago, Ryan. Unless Mom was shopping from beyond the grave, I think we're safe. He laughed because Ryan could take almost anything as a joke when the alternative was admitting it was work. You know what I mean? I did. Ryan was the keeper of Dad's feelings in theory. I was the person who had to touch the sticky shelf paper. My brother was 43 and sold commercial real estate with the unshakable confidence of a man who had once received a trophy for participating and assumed it was for leadership. He was good at his job. People liked him quickly. Waiters remembered him. Men at gas stations told him their life stories. And women who met him once at a Christmas party asked me about him for years. Dad loved watching Ryan enter a room. He loved having me already in it. That Sunday, I found Dad in the garage trying to lift a cardboard box onto a shelf above his head. He was 68, broad through the chest, with the permanently scraped knuckles of a retired city bus mechanic. He had been retired for 3 years and still wore navy work shirts with his name stitched over the pocket. What are you doing? I asked. Putting this away. Using what, your emergency third arm? It's not heavy. He said that while holding it against his stomach with both hands. I took the box. It was full of old brake parts, a rusted flashlight, and approximately 9 pounds of objects Dad might someday use to fix something nobody owned. You shouldn't lift like this when you're alone. I wasn't alone. You came. You didn't know I was here. I knew you were coming. There it was. The family logic in its purest form. Inside, the kitchen smelled like coffee and the lemon cleaner I bought him because he claimed every other brand left a film. Dad followed me around while I checked dates, objecting to each item as though I were auctioning off the house. That mustard is fine. It's brown. It's spicy mustard. The label says yellow. It darkens. Dad. Your brother likes mustard. Then Ryan can come get it. Dad leaned against the counter and smiled. He's busy with that condo. Ryan had bought a place downtown that needed what he called cosmetic updates. He had then removed 2 walls, the kitchen, both bathrooms, and some plumbing his contractor described as emotionally concerning. For 3 months, he had been staying with his girlfriend, Melissa, while Dad treated every renovation delay as evidence of Ryan's ambition. I'm busy too, I said. I know that. It came out gently, which was worse. Dad never doubted that I was busy. He simply believed my busyness could be moved. He picked up the expired spaghetti sauce and watched me drop it into the trash. Could have used that. You had 6 years. I was saving it. For what? He shrugged. An emergency. I looked at him. If the emergency requires marinara, I'll buy you another jar. He laughed so hard he had to grip the counter. That was Dad too, stubborn enough to make me want to scream, then suddenly delighted by me. When I left, I put a new jar of sauce in the pantry. I wrote the date on top in black marker just to irritate him. He called that evening to tell me he had seen it. Very professional, he said. I run a tight pantry. Your mother never wrote on cans. It's a jar. Good night, Claire. Good night, Dad. 3 days later, I was halfway through my first coffee when Ryan called again. He didn't say hello. Have you talked to Dad? The tone brought me upright. Not since Sunday. I'm at his house. He's acting strange. What does strange mean? He keeps dropping his keys. Call 911. I asked him if he wants an ambulance. Don't ask him. He says he's fine. Ryan, call 911. Dad hated ambulances. He hated hospitals, blood pressure cuffs, forms with boxes for race and marital status, and anyone under 40 telling him what not to eat. Ryan knew that. Ryan also hated being the person who made Dad angry. I think maybe his hand fell asleep, he said. Is his face even? What? Tell him to smile. Claire, tell him to smile. I was already grabbing my purse. I heard Ryan say, Dad, smile at me, followed by Dad's irritated voice, thick and hard to understand. My chair rolled backward and hit the filing cabinet. Call now. This time Ryan did. I reached Dad's street as the ambulance turned in. Ryan stood in the driveway barefoot, wearing suit pants and a white undershirt. He'd gone there to borrow Dad's folding table for an open house. Later, I would think about how random that was, how easily Dad might have been alone until evening, how Ryan's need for something had saved him. Dad was sitting on the front step with one paramedic beside him. The right side of his mouth drooped. His anger came out in broken pieces. No, hospital. Yes, hospital, I said. His eyes found mine, frightened and furious. He tried to stand. The paramedic put a hand on his shoulder. Tom, stay seated for me. Dad swatted at him with his good hand. Ryan hovered behind them, holding Dad's keys. He was like this when I got here. How long? I asked. I don't know. What time did you arrive? Maybe 10 minutes before I called you. When was he last normal? I don't know, Claire. The paramedic looked between us. Did either of you speak to him this morning? We both said no. Dad tried to answer. The sounds came wrong. His face changed when he heard himself, and that was the first moment I felt real terror. Not the loud kind. Something cold and precise settled under my ribs. I crouched in front of him. We're going with them. Okay? He shook his head. I know. Be mad at me. His left hand closed around my wrist. At the hospital, Ryan became excellent. He knew Dad's date of birth without looking. He remembered the name of the blood pressure medication Dad routinely forgot. He called Melissa, canceled his afternoon showing, and asked the nurse focused questions in a voice that made strangers assume he was calm. I sat beside Dad's shoes in a plastic bag and realized I had left my purse in my unlocked car. The emergency department moved in bursts. A doctor appeared, spoke fast, disappeared. A nurse cut Dad's shirt. Ryan said they didn't need to cut it because the buttons worked, and the nurse cut it anyway. When they took Dad for imaging, Ryan stood at the foot of the bed. "You're good," he told him. "They caught it early. You're gonna be good." Dad looked at Ryan like he believed him. Then his eyes slid toward me. I was holding the plastic bag with his shoes and belt. He lifted his good hand and I stepped closer. "House," he managed. "I'll lock up." His fingers moved against the blanket. "What, coffee? You want coffee?" His eyebrows pulled together. "Your coffee maker," Ryan translated. "He left it on. I'll check it," I said. Dad relaxed. Ryan squeezed his shoulder. "See? We've got everything handled." The doctor said the words, ischemic stroke. She said they had moved quickly. She also said weakness, speech therapy, occupational therapy, swallowing evaluation, fall risk, and inpatient rehabilitation. Each phrase seemed to place another object in my arms. Ryan created a family text thread from the waiting room. Tom's Team, he named it, with a red heart and a flexed biceps emoji. He sent updates to cousins I hadn't seen since Mom's funeral. He took calls in the hallway and told everyone Dad was a fighter. By evening, people were thanking him. I drove to Dad's house, turned off the coffee maker, locked the back door, emptied the milk, fed the half-feral orange cat that visited his porch, and brought him clean underwear. When I returned, Ryan was beside Dad's bed showing him all the messages people had sent. "There she is," Ryan said as I walked in, "our supply department." Dad looked at the overnight bag in my hand. Then he looked at me, tired and crooked-faced, and whispered, "Knew you'd come." 2 days later, the hospital approved his transfer to Briarwood Rehabilitation Center. Ryan opened the shared calendar on his phone. "I'll coordinate visits," he said. "That way Dad's never alone." He looked at me across the hospital room. "Mornings are probably easiest for you, right?" They weren't. I said, "Sure." Mornings were when I fixed every problem people had created after I went home the night before. Our company distributed plumbing and electrical supplies to contractors across 3 states. The warehouse started at 5, the drivers at 6, and the office at 8:30. By the time I arrived, there were usually missing time punches, disputed overtime, and at least one man named either Mike or Dave insisting his paycheck had been personally sabotaged. My boss, Nadine, listened while I explained that Dad would need inpatient rehabilitation. "How long?" she asked. "I'm not sure yet." She nodded at the folder in my hand. Nadine was 56, wore bright reading glasses on a chain, and could make concern sound like an accusation. "Take what you need." "Thank you, but tell me what you need before you take it." "I will, and don't answer emails from the hospital because then I won't know whether you're working or not working." "Okay, and if you don't answer, don't feel guilty." "I won't." She stared at me. "I'll try not to feel guilty. That's more believable." Briarwood was 12 minutes from my office if I caught all 3 lights on Cypress Avenue. It was 28 minutes from my house, assuming nobody had decided 6:30 in the morning was the right time to transport a mobile home. Dad arrived there on a Friday afternoon. The building was low and beige, with ornamental trees outside and a circular driveway full of cars whose drivers seemed surprised that other people also needed to stop. Inside, the lobby smelled like disinfectant, burnt coffee, and cinnamon air freshener. Ryan was already at the front desk when I walked in, signing forms with a silver pen. "They need an emergency contact," he said. "You're writing my number? You answer." He said it like a compliment. The receptionist behind the desk was a woman in her early 60s with silver braids looped at the back of her head. Her name tag said Loretta. She looked at the form, then at me. "Primary contact should be whoever is coordinating care." "That's me," Ryan said. His phone rang. He looked at the screen. "I have to take this. Claire knows all the medical stuff." He handed me the clipboard and walked toward the doors. Loretta watched him go. "Primary contact?" I crossed out Ryan's number and wrote mine, apparently. She gave me a small, knowing smile and pointed out 3 places he had missed. Dad's room was on the 2nd floor, past a nursing station decorated with paper sunflowers. His roommate was a retired postal worker named Earl, who slept with his television on and woke up whenever anyone tried to lower it. Dad was in a wheelchair beside the bed, glaring at a laminated sign that said, "Call, don't fall." "I can stand," he told me. The words were clearer than they had been in the emergency room, but slow. He seemed to have to locate each one before bringing it out. "I know. They think I'm an idiot." "No, they think you might fall." "Same thing." Ryan came in behind me, still talking into his phone. "No, push it to Tuesday. My dad had a stroke." He paused. "Yeah, it's been a nightmare." Dad straightened when he heard him. Ryan ended the call and put both hands on the wheelchair handles. "This place is temporary, Dad. You'll be out before they learn your name." A physical therapist named Ben entered carrying a gait belt. "Unfortunately, learning names is part of orientation," he said. "Tom, I'm Ben." Dad looked him up and down. Ben was lean, cheerful, and young enough to make Dad suspicious. "What's that?" Dad asked, pointing at the belt. "This is how I keep you from hitting the floor." "I'm not hitting the floor." "Great. Then we'll both have an easy afternoon." Ben showed Dad how to lock the wheelchair brakes before standing. Dad ignored him, reached for the bed rail, and nearly tipped sideways. Ryan lunged forward. Ben caught Dad cleanly and eased him back down. For half a second, Dad looked terrified. Then he snapped, "You moved the chair." Ben glanced at me. I pressed my lips together. Ryan said, "It's okay, Dad. New room. You're getting used to it." "I didn't move the chair," Ben said calmly. "Your right leg isn't supporting you yet. It supports me. Let's find out how much." That first session lasted 12 minutes. Dad cursed twice, denied being tired 6 times, and told Ben he used to carry transmissions heavier than him. Ben told Dad that was convenient because tomorrow they could start with something lighter. I liked him immediately. Dad did not. Ryan left before dinner because Melissa had made reservations she couldn't cancel. He kissed Dad on the forehead, something I had never seen him do before the stroke. "I'll be back Sunday," he said. "We'll watch the game." Dad nodded. "Claire will be here tomorrow morning." They both looked at me. "I will," I said. Ryan smiled. "See? Full coverage." I stayed while a nursing assistant brought Dad chicken with gravy, green beans cooked to the texture of wet paper, and thickened iced tea. He poked the chicken. "What did it do?" "What to deserve this?" I laughed before I could stop myself. Dad's mouth twitched. "You eat it. I'm not the one in rehab. You should be. Something's wrong with you if you think this is chicken." He tried cutting it with his left hand. The knife slid off the plate. He tried again, harder. Gravy splattered onto his shirt. I reached for the knife. "No, I'm just cutting it. I can cut." "Okay." He worked at it for nearly a minute. His breathing changed. The left side of the chicken became shredded while the right side remained intact. Earl watched from the other bed. "Let her cut it," he advised. Dad turned toward him. "Watch your show. It's a commercial, I can tell." Earl looked at me. "He's pleasant. You should have met him before the stroke." Dad gave me a wounded look, and for a few seconds, the room felt almost normal. The next morning, I left home at 5:40. I packed Dad's navy robe, his electric razor, 2 clean work shirts, and the old crossword book from beside his recliner. At the last second, I grabbed the new jar of spaghetti sauce from his pantry, took a picture of it on the counter, and put it back. When I reached Briarwood, most of the lobby lights were still dim. Loretta sat behind the desk wearing purple glasses and reading a paperback with a shirtless man on the cover. "You're early," she said. "I'm working on becoming the favorite. Dangerous hobby." She set the book face down. Visiting starts at 7. The clock read 6:34. I thought Ryan said family could come before therapy, if the nursing staff approves it. Oh. I stood there holding Dad's robe and underwear in a grocery bag. Loretta studied me for a moment, then picked up the phone. "Who are you here for?" "Tom Donnelly." 2:14. She called upstairs, spoke quietly, and hung up. They said he's awake. Sign there. Thank you. There's coffee behind you. It's not good, but it is warm. The coffee station held paper cups, powdered creamer, sugar packets, and 3 empty baskets labeled muffins, fruit, and tea. I poured from the silver dispenser. The coffee came out black and smelled strong enough to remove paint. Loretta watched me add 1 powdered creamer. No sugar? I'm sweet enough before 7. She did not smile. Sorry, I said. My father makes that joke. I figured it belonged to somebody's father. Dad was awake, dressed in a hospital gown, arguing with a nurse about socks. They were yellow with rubber grips on both sides. They look ridiculous, he said. They keep you safe, the nurse replied. So would shoes. We need to check your skin. My skin is still there. The nurse saw me and pointed. Family reinforcement. Dad frowned at my coffee. You brought yourself coffee. There's some downstairs, and none for me. I didn't know you could have it. I had a stroke, not a religious conversion. The nurse laughed. Her name was Denise, and she checked his chart before allowing me to bring him a small cup. He demanded it black, then made a face when he tasted it. This is punishment. You complained about the chicken. They talked. He took another sip anyway. I helped him shave after breakfast. He insisted on holding the electric razor with his right hand. It trembled against his cheek, moving half an inch at a time. I sat on the edge of the windowsill and waited. You're staring, he said. I'm looking outside. What's outside? A parking lot. Interesting? Very. His hand dropped into his lap. Without asking, I took the razor and finished the right side of his face. Dad stared over my shoulder. I could feel how hard he was working not to react. When I was done, I brushed loose gray whiskers from his collar. There, I said. He touched his cheek with his left hand. Missed a spot. Then you'll have to grow the whole beard back. At 7:30, Ben arrived for physical therapy. Ready to work, Tom? I've been awake for hours. That wasn't my question. Dad looked at me. He's obnoxious. I heard good things. From who? Ben. Ben fastened the gate belt around Dad's waist. Your daughter can come watch if you want. Dad answered too fast. She has work. I checked the clock. If I left immediately, I could arrive by 8:10. I can stay a few minutes. You don't need to. His voice had changed. The irritation was gone. What remained was smaller and harder to look at. I have time. Ben helped him stand between the parallel bars. Dad's right knee buckled once, then held. He moved his hand along the bar, dragged his right foot forward, and took one uneven step. That's it, Ben said. Shift your weight. Trust the leg enough to make it work. Dad breathed through his nose. Sweat appeared along his hairline. Another step. His right hand slipped. Ben steadied him. Dad looked toward me as if checking whether I had seen. I pretended to be reading the safety instructions on the wall. Again, he said. By the time I reached work, I was 23 minutes late. A driver named Mike was waiting beside my desk with a time card in his hand. My overtime's wrong. Good morning to you, too. Nadine appeared in her doorway. Her bright glasses were red that day. How is your father? He took 4 steps. Her face softened. That's good. Yeah. I sat down and she put a paper cup beside my keyboard. You look terrible, she said. Thank you. Drink that before you calculate anybody's wages. I picked it up. 1 cream, no sugar. That's exactly right. It's coffee, Claire. I didn't donate a kidney. Still, I drank the whole thing. Ryan texted the family group just after lunch. Dad crushed his first rehab session. Tremendous progress. Proud of you, old man. He attached the photograph I had sent him that morning of Dad standing between the parallel bars. 11 people added hearts. Dad replied with a flexed biceps emoji. Ryan sent another message. I'll be there Sunday, to keep him motivated. I started typing that Dad had asked to do the exercise again. I wanted them to know he had been scared. I wanted someone to know I had been there when he took those steps. Instead, I deleted it. At 9:14 that night, Dad called me. His voice was groggy. You coming tomorrow? Yes. Don't be late. Visiting doesn't start until 7. Loretta will let you up. You remembered her name? She talks loud. From across the room, Earl shouted, "She does not." Dad lowered his voice. "Bring decent coffee. I thought the Briarwood coffee built character. I have enough character." Before he hung up, he said, "4 steps." I saw. "Tomorrow I'll do 6. I'll be there." "I know," he said. The next morning, I brought coffee from a gas station on Cypress because its sign claimed to have the best coffee in the county. The sign had not been fact-checked. Loretta looked at the cup in my hand. "Better than ours?" "Different bad." "What do you put in it?" "1 cream, no sugar." "So you're consistent, only with beverages." She signed me in without calling upstairs. Dad was sitting on the edge of his bed in the yellow socks, trying to put on his pants with one hand. His right foot had gone through the wrong opening, and the waistband was twisted around his thigh. "Close the door," he said. I did. Denise said she'd help. I don't need Denise. "Okay." He tried pulling the pants back off. His balance shifted and I stepped forward. "I've got it." I didn't say anything. "You moved, I'm allowed to move." "Not toward me like that." I leaned against the wall. "How would you like me to move?" "Out." I opened the door. Not really out. I closed it again. Dad glared at the floor. "This place puts you in a diaper if you sneeze wrong." "Are you wearing a diaper?" "No." "Then your sneezing must be excellent." He didn't laugh. His left hand pulled at the fabric, but the pants bunched tighter. I waited until he stopped. "Can I help now?" "I can do it." "I know." He looked up. "You know, but you're asking." "Yes." "That makes no sense. I inherited my communication skills from you." That got a breath through his nose. Not a laugh exactly, but permission. I knelt and eased his right foot free. I held the waistband open while he guided each leg into the correct side. When he stood, I pulled the pants over his hips without looking at his face. "Your mother did this for me once," he said. "Put on your pants?" "After my back surgery, I don't remember that." "You were in college." I fastened the button. "Did you yell at her too?" "Worse." "Good. I'd hate to think this was personal." He rested his left hand on my shoulder as I helped him sit. For 1 second, his fingers squeezed. Then he said, "Coffee's terrible." Dad took 7 steps in therapy. The 6th was ugly, and the 7th happened because Ben had already moved the chair. "You cheated," Dad said when he sat down. "I created an opportunity," Ben replied. "That's cheating with a college degree." Ben wrote something on his clipboard. "Patient is alert and charming. I want a copy of that." I stayed through occupational therapy because Dad asked me to find his glasses, which were on his face. A woman named Priya placed wooden pegs in front of him and asked him to move them from one board to another using his right hand. Dad stared at her. "Why?" "To work on your grip and coordination." "What am I building?" "Patience." "I already have patience." Priya glanced at me. "Don't involve me," I said. "I'm just visiting." Dad managed 3 pegs. The 4th slipped between his fingers and rolled under the table. He kicked the board with his good foot. "Cheap thing." Priya retrieved the peg. "It's okay to be frustrated." "I'm not frustrated." "Then it's okay to be whatever you are." He folded his arms. I expected the session to be over. Instead, Priya put the peg back in front of him and waited. She did not encourage him. She did not soften her face. After half a minute, Dad reached for it. On my way out, I stopped at the nursing station to ask about his laundry. Denise handed me a clear plastic bag containing 2 shirts, socks, and the pants he had worn to the hospital. "We can wash personal items," she said, "but they have to be labeled." "I'll do it at home. Don't let it become a full-time job. It's 1 bag." Denise looked toward Dad's room. It never starts as 12 bags. I carried it to the elevator anyway. By Wednesday, I had a system. I packed Dad's clean clothes at night and put them by my front door. I left home before 6, parked near the ornamental tree with 1 dead branch, signed in with Loretta, and poured coffee while the elevator came down. On Thursday, the silver dispenser was empty. Loretta looked offended on my behalf. "They're late." "Who?" "Dietary." "I'll survive." She opened a cabinet behind the desk, took out a single-serve coffee machine, and filled its reservoir from a water bottle. "You have a secret machine? I have standards. You recommended the lobby coffee to me. I didn't know you then." She put a dark roast pod into the machine. 1 cream, no sugar. I stared at her. "What?" she said. "You've ordered the same thing 4 days in a row." I didn't know there was an order. There's always an order. She slid the cup toward me and returned to her book. Upstairs, Dad had decided his speech therapist was trying to embarrass him. The therapist, Nina, had shown him pictures and asked him to name the objects. He knew what they were, but some of the words would not come. "That's for babies," he told me after she left. "It's to help your speech. I know words. I know you know them." She showed me a chair. "What did you call it?" "Furniture. That's not wrong." She said it wasn't the target. Dad's face tightened. "I fixed engines for 38 years. You know how many parts are in a bus engine?" "No, me neither." "A lot. Probably." I knew everyone. His right hand rested on the blanket, fingers curled inward. I sat beside the bed. Earl's television was showing a cooking competition. Someone had made a tower out of caramel and was pretending that was normal. Dad pointed at my cup. "Coffee. Yes. Window. Yes. Cheap lamp. Very good. Pain in the ass, daughter. Your speech is perfect." He smiled, then pointed at the rolling table beside his bed. A blue plastic pitcher sat on it. That, water pitcher. I knew that, I know. "Don't tell Ryan about the pictures." "Why?" "I don't want him worrying." Ryan worried loudly and briefly. Dad preferred it to my quieter attention because Ryan's worry came with an ending. If Ryan said everything would be fine, Dad could borrow his confidence. I made lists. "I won't tell him," I said. "Good. But if Nina gives you practice, you have to do it." Dad rolled his eyes. "You always add terms. Family discount." That afternoon, Ryan posted an update in Tom's team. "Dad's working hard and his speech is almost back to normal. Rehab says he may be home sooner than expected." I texted him separately. "Who said sooner than expected?" He replied, "Dad." "That doesn't mean Rehab said it." "Close enough. He needs positivity." I looked at the spreadsheet open on my computer. 214 employees depended on me not entering their dental deductions into the federal tax column. I typed, "Don't tell people things the therapists haven't said." 3 dots appeared, disappeared, reappeared. You get too hung up on wording. I didn't answer. Friday morning, Dad refused to go to therapy because his right shoulder hurt. Denise called the room physician. Ben offered lighter exercises. Dad told everyone he needed rest. When they left, I stood at the foot of his bed. "You coming to yell at me too?" he asked. "No. You have that look." "What look?" "Your mother's look." "Convenient that she's not here to defend herself." He stared toward the window. "What happened?" I asked. "Nothing. Did you fall?" "No." "Did you hurt it in therapy?" "No." "Then what?" He was silent long enough that I almost left it alone. Finally, he said, "Couldn't get to the bathroom." His voice was flat. I understood slowly. "Last night?" He nodded once. The call button fell. "Did you call out?" "Earl got somebody." From the other bed, Earl raised one hand without turning away from the television. "Team effort," he said. Dad's cheeks had gone dark red. I pulled the visitor chair closer but didn't sit. "That's not your fault. I don't need a speech." "Good, because I don't have one. I told them I could walk." "You can walk with help. I should have made it." "Maybe." He looked at me sharply. "I'm not going to lie to you," I said. "You should have called before you tried. I did call. Then they need to keep the button where you can reach it. They put an alarm on the bed. That seems reasonable. It goes off if I stand." "That also seems reasonable. I'm not a prisoner. No. Prisoners don't get chicken with gravy." His mouth moved, but he fought the smile. I sat beside him. "You don't have to do therapy today, but if you skip because you're embarrassed, you're letting one bad night decide when you go home." Dad looked at the yellow socks. "I'll tell Ben your shoulder hurts," I said. "He can work around it." He muttered something. What? Call him. I found Ben in the hallway. When I returned, Dad was sitting upright, combing his hair with his left hand. He made it through 20 minutes. On Sunday, I arrived at 11 with clean laundry and found Ryan sitting beside Dad's bed wearing a football jersey. The game had not started, but Ryan had brought a chocolate milkshake with whipped cream and a bag of French fries. Dad's whole face was awake. "There she is," Ryan said. "The laundry service." I set the bag in the closet. "Is he allowed to have that?" Dad took a loud sip through the straw. Ryan grinned. "Don't arrest us. He's on a heart-healthy diet. It's one milkshake." Dad pointed at me with a French fry. "Don't ruin Sunday." I looked at him. The man who had been too ashamed to say the word bathroom was now wearing his old smirk. "Wouldn't dream of it," I said. Ryan handed me his phone. "Take a picture of us." He sat on the edge of the bed and put an arm around Dad. Dad held up the milkshake like a trophy. I took 3 pictures. "Get one where he doesn't look sick," Ryan said. Dad straightened. Ryan smiled wider. I took another. "That's the one." Ryan inspected it. Perfect. He posted it before I had put my own phone back in my purse. "Sunday, with the toughest man I know. Nothing can keep him down." The hearts arrived almost immediately. Dad read every comment over Ryan's shoulder. He looked happy, and I hated myself a little for resenting it. "I'm going to head out," I said. "You just got here," Dad replied, though he was still looking at Ryan's phone. "You've got company." Ryan glanced up. "Hey, can you take this laundry bag? His hamper's full." I looked at the closet. The clean clothes I had brought were still folded in my grocery bag. "Sure." I carried the hamper downstairs. Loretta was at the desk. She looked at the bag, then at me. Visiting, apparently. She reached behind her, started the coffee machine, and held up a cream cup. "One?" "One," I said. She made the coffee without asking anything else. I drank it in my car while my phone kept lighting up with pictures from a Sunday I had just left. The laundry bag sat on my passenger seat like an accusation. At home, I carried it straight to the basement and discovered Ryan had included Dad's damp bath towel, 2 washcloths, Earl's pajama shirt, and the gray cardigan Dad wore whenever he claimed a room was drafty. I held up the pajama shirt. It was green with tiny white sailboats. Unless Dad had undergone a significant personality change, it wasn't his. I washed it anyway. On Monday, I brought the shirt back in a grocery bag and handed it to Earl. "My daughter gave me that," he said, examining the folded sleeves. "Apparently my brother stole it." I wondered where it went. Dad looked offended. "Ryan didn't steal it." "You took the wrong laundry." Ryan filled the bag. "You carried it." Earl nodded. "That's how they get you." I pointed at him. "Thank you." I was talking to Tom. Loretta had added 2 sleeves to my coffee that morning because the first one kept sliding down. She had also started setting aside a banana from the breakfast delivery. "You need to eat something," she said. "I eat. Coffee isn't food, it comes from beans. So does chili. You want chili at 6:30 in the morning? Not from here." She laughed once and gave me the banana. The visits began stacking on top of one another until I stopped thinking of them as separate days. I measured the weeks in Dad's small recoveries. He lifted a plastic cup with his right hand without spilling. He buttoned the bottom 2 buttons of his shirt, although they didn't match the correct holes. He crossed the therapy gym with a walker while Ben kept one hand near the gate belt but didn't touch it. He named every object Nina showed him except a whisk, which he called that stupid egg thing. "Your mother had one," he told me. "Mom had 3. Why?" "She kept buying them because she couldn't find the others." "Where were they?" "In the drawer." "Which drawer?" "The one you never opened." Dad smiled. "Junk drawer." "Utensil drawer." "Junk drawer with spoons." On good mornings, he argued. On bad mornings, he watched the right side of his body like it belonged to someone he didn't trust. I learned not to praise him too quickly. If I said a step looked good, he heard surprise. If I told him he was improving, he wanted to know what I had expected. Ben could say, "That was stronger," and Dad accepted it as clinical judgment. If I said the same thing, he accused me of talking to him like a patient, so I started insulting him. Your right leg is only 80% useless today, better than your whole head. Excellent speech clarity. Get my shoes. He worked harder when he was trying to prove me wrong. At the office, Nadine started leaving folders in neat stacks on my chair so I could take them home. She never said I was falling behind. She did not have to. One evening, I was still at my desk at 7 when she came out of her office wearing her coat. You know, those folders can survive overnight. Quarterly reconciliation. It'll still be quarterly tomorrow. I'm almost done. She picked up the framed photograph beside my monitor. It was Dad, Ryan, and me at Mom's last birthday dinner. Ryan stood in the middle with an arm around each of us. Dad and I were both looking at him instead of the camera. He looks strong, Nadine said. He is. I meant your father. Oh. She set the picture down. Go home, Claire. I took 2 hours this morning. You arrived at 8:40. I usually arrive at 8. You're salaried. Payroll notices when the payroll person disappears. Payroll will survive. She put on one glove. The question is whether you plan to. That's dramatic. I'm wearing red glasses. I'm allowed to be dramatic. I shut down my computer. In the parking lot, I had 3 missed calls from Dad. When I called back, Denise answered. He's fine, she said immediately. He was trying to reach you because his remote isn't working. I closed my eyes. His television remote? He says it's an emergency. In the background, I heard Dad say, I did not say emergency. You called 3 times. I thought it wasn't going through. Denise passed him the phone. What's wrong with it? I asked. Volume button. Ask Earl. Earl shouted. He did. I told him to turn the TV off. Dad lowered his voice. He's in a mood. Press the button on the side of the television. I can't reach it. Call the desk. I don't want to bother them. I looked back at the dark office windows. But you can call me 3 times. You know televisions. I live 28 minutes away. I didn't ask you to come. The sentence was technically true and completely dishonest. I'll tell the desk. Don't make a big thing out of it. I called Denise. She walked 6 steps into the room and replaced the batteries. Dad called again to tell me he could have done that if someone had brought him batteries. By the 3rd week, Ryan stopped pretending he had a schedule. His Sunday visits remained sacred, but a Tuesday dinner turned into a phone call, and a Thursday visit disappeared because a contractor had found water behind his bathroom wall. He texted me at 5:15. Can you swing by tonight? Dad's lonely. I was at the grocery store holding a container of laundry detergent. I was there this morning. Yeah, but evenings are long. You could call him. Already did. He sounds down. That meant Dad had complained to Ryan. Ryan had said he was busy, and Ryan wanted me to remove the discomfort from both ends of the conversation. I typed, I have plans. My plans were detergent, a frozen pizza, and sleeping before midnight, but Ryan did not need to know that. A minute later, Dad called. Your brother's got water in the walls, he said. So I heard. Could ruin the whole place. It's tile, not the Hoover Dam. You don't know. Water spreads. Did Ryan call you? He checks in. Did he tell you to call me? Dad was quiet. I put the detergent in my cart. He worries about me being alone, Dad said. You're not alone. Earl is 6 feet away. Earl's sleeping. From somewhere near the phone, Earl said, No, I'm not. Dad covered the receiver badly. Stay out of it. I'm going home, I said. I'll see you tomorrow. What plans do you have? Secret ones. On a Thursday? Especially on a Thursday. He sounded wounded enough that I nearly changed my mind. Then he said, Your brother would come if he could. I looked at the detergent. It was the fragrance-free kind Dad wanted because the lavender scent made him sneeze. I know, I said. Good night. I went home. I ate the frozen pizza standing at the kitchen counter because sitting down seemed too ambitious. At 8:30, I received a picture from Ryan. He was at Dad's bedside wearing his dress shirt with the sleeves rolled up. The wall behind him was dark, so I knew he had arrived after dinner. Couldn't leave the old man hanging, he wrote. Dad replied to the group with 3 hearts. I laughed. It came out sharp enough to startle me. The next morning, Dad had a white bakery bag on his table. "Ryan brought donuts," he said. "I see that. You want one?" "Sure." He opened the bag. There was half of a glazed donut and an untouched maple bar. "Take the maple." Ryan got it for himself, but he didn't eat it. "I don't like maple." "You used to." "I have never liked maple." Dad pushed the bag toward me. "Don't waste it." I took the maple bar. "Ryan stayed until 10, he said. That was nice. He's got a lot going on, I know. Still made time. I chewed the donut. It tasted like sweet wax. Dad watched me. "You're in a mood." "No, I'm eating Ryan's abandoned donut at 6:50 in the morning. This is exactly where I hoped my life would be." He looked down at his right hand. I regretted it immediately. Then he said, "You could have said no." "To the donut? To coming so much?" The room went quiet, except for Earl snoring. I set the maple bar down. "You asked me to come." "I'm not blaming you. It sounds like you're blaming me for doing the thing you wanted. You get tired, then you act like somebody made you tired." There was enough truth in it to hurt. I stood and brushed crumbs from my fingers. "Therapy's at 7:30. You don't have to stay." "Do you want me to stay?" Dad turned toward the window. That was the problem with direct questions in our family. They removed all the comfortable places to hide. "Yes," he said finally. So I stayed. After therapy, a discharge planner named Dana stopped us in the hallway. She had a tablet tucked against her chest and a habit of speaking as though everyone had already agreed with her. "Tom, we need to schedule a family meeting for next week." "I'm going home," Dad said. "That's one of the things we'll discuss." "No discussion." Dana looked at me. "He'll need support at home." "I know." "I have support," Dad said. Dana ignored him with professional ease. "We need whoever will be helping with medications, meals, mobility, follow-up appointments, and home exercises." "That's my daughter," Dad said. The answer came so quickly it felt like a hand closing around my wrist. Dana tapped her screen. "And your son is listed as care coordinator." Dad looked at me. "Ryan handles the big picture." I waited for him to hear what he had said. He didn't. "What day?" I asked. "Tuesday at 2. I work. We can do 4. I also work at 4. Dad frowned. "You can leave early once." Dana lowered the tablet. "We can call you in if that's easier." Before I answered, Ryan came around the corner carrying 2 coffees and talking to someone through his earbuds. He ended the call when he saw us. "Family conference?" he said. "Great. Put it on my calendar." Dana explained the meeting. "Dad's going home," Ryan said. "We'll evaluate. He's not going to some facility." "We are a facility," Dad pointed out. Ryan put a coffee on the table in front of him. "You know what I mean. I might recommend a short transition in assisted living," Dana said. "That depends on his progress and the support available." Ryan shook his head. "He has us." Dad's shoulders relaxed. Ryan looked at me. "Claire can do mornings. I can handle evenings. I can't do every morning after he goes home. You're already doing every morning. He's 12 minutes from my office here. Dad's house is the opposite direction." "We'll work it out," Dana asked. "Will either of you be staying with him?" Ryan hesitated for barely a second. "My condo's under construction. I can move into Dad's place until he's steady." Dad's face changed. Pride, relief, and something almost boyish moved across it. "You don't have to do that," he said. "Of course I do. What about Melissa? She'll understand." I looked at Ryan. He had found the one version of caregiving that solved 2 of his problems at once. He needed somewhere to stay, and Dad needed someone overnight. It was practical. It was generous. It was also going to make Ryan look like a saint. Dad reached for the coffee with his right hand. It wobbled, but he lifted it on his own. Ryan smiled. "Look at that. I leave you alone for 2 days, and you're showing off." Dad beamed. I watched the cup reach his mouth and remembered the first morning he couldn't hold a razor. Ryan opened the shared calendar. "I'll block the nights," he said. "Claire, I'll put you down for weekdays before work. I didn't agree to that. It's just a draft." He added my name anyway. 5 blue rectangles appeared across the screen. Claire morning care. Ryan's evenings were yellow. Ryan home with Dad. Mine looked like an assignment. His looked like a relationship. I deleted 4 of the blue rectangles before I left the building. Ryan added them back before I reached my car. I called him. I said I can't do every morning. It's a placeholder with my name on it. Fine. Change the name to morning care. Who's providing it? We'll figure that out at the meeting. Then why did you add me back? Because until we figure it out, it's you. He sounded distracted. In the background, someone was drilling. That's not how agreeing works. Claire, I'm moving into Dad's house because you need a place to stay. The drilling stopped. Wow, what? Nothing. That's just a pretty ugly way to look at it. It can be helpful and convenient at the same time. I could stay with Melissa. I'm choosing Dad. You told him Melissa would understand. Have you asked her? A pause answered for him. I'm handling it, he said. Great. Handle the mornings, too. You're already there every morning. At Briarwood, on my way to work. How much difference can 15 minutes make? 41. What? I checked. Dad's house to my office in morning traffic is 41 minutes. Briarwood is 12. So go earlier. I almost admired the simplicity of his solutions. In Ryan's world, time was a hallway other people could move out of his way. I can do Monday and Friday, I said. 1 hour. You need to find help for the other days. Dad doesn't want strangers. Dad doesn't want yellow socks. He still wears them. Those are medical. So is care after a stroke. He exhaled. Can we not fight until we know what he actually needs? You put me on the calendar before we know what he needs. I said it's a draft. We circled the same words until I was too tired to keep throwing them. When I returned the next morning, only Monday and Friday remained blue. Tuesday through Thursday said family TBD. I knew what TBD meant. It meant Claire later. Loretta handed me my coffee and a banana. You're frowning at your phone, she said. Family calendar. Delete the family. I tried. It added itself back. Upstairs, Dad was practicing getting out of bed without using the rail. He pushed himself upright, planted both feet, and stood while Denise watched. Look at you, I said. He sat down too quickly. Been doing it all morning. Denise shook her head behind him. I'm going home Friday, he said. No one said Friday. I did. Then it must be official. He pointed toward the closet. Bring my brown shoes tomorrow. Ben wants you in sneakers. Brown shoes have rubber soles. They also weigh 12 pounds. They're good shoes. They were good shoes when Carter was president. Dad thought for a moment. Reagan? That's much better. He smiled, then looked toward Earl, who was asleep. Ryan called last night, he said quietly. Did he? Says you're upset about mornings. I'm not upset. I'm unavailable 3 of them. You always go in early. To Briarwood. We covered the geography. I don't need much. Nobody who said that had ever meant it. Breakfast, pills, maybe a shower some days. Dad counted on his left fingers. You'd be done in an hour. And the drive. You could take the parkway. In rush hour? It moves. Not since 1998. He leaned back against the pillow. Ryan's staying nights. I know. That's a big sacrifice. It is. He has work too. There it was, laid gently between us. Ryan had work. I had a schedule. I can do Monday and Friday, I said. Dad's eyes moved toward the window. Assisted living has staff. That's why Dana mentioned it. They make you eat at certain times. They also help you shower. Food's probably worse than here. Maybe. Could stay a week. You could. He looked at me sharply, surprised I wasn't rushing to save him from the idea. Your mother would have wanted me home. Mom would have hired somebody by now and made them regret taking the job. That pulled a laugh out of him, but not enough to erase the fear. I don't want strangers in the house, he said. I know. You know how people are. Yes. Some of them put their daughters on calendars without asking. Dad's mouth tightened. That was Ryan. You let him. I didn't know you two were fighting. We're not fighting. I'm saying no, and he's treating it like the beginning of negotiations. Dad rubbed his right thumb against his index finger, an exercise Priya had given him. The motion was still clumsy. "He worries you'll regret it," he said. "Regret what?" "If something happens." It was an efficient weapon because it didn't require Dad to ask for anything. It only asked me to imagine his body on the kitchen floor. I picked up my coffee. "He can worry," I said. The family meeting took place in a small conference room with a fake plant and a framed print of a sailboat. Dad came in using a walker. He hated the walker less than the wheelchair, mostly because he could abandon it when no one was looking. Ryan arrived 8 minutes late with Melissa. I had met her plenty of times, but never in fluorescent lighting. She was 40, tall, with dark hair cut bluntly at her jaw and the composed expression of a woman who checked restaurant menus before agreeing to go. "Claire," she said, hugging me. "How are you holding up?" "Depends who you ask." Ryan pulled out a chair for Dad. "She's good. She loves being in charge." Melissa looked at me. "Do you?" "No." Dana sat at the head of the table. Ben and Priya joined us along with a nurse named Angela whom Dad claimed never brought his pills on time. Angela had records suggesting otherwise. Ben summarized Dad's progress. He could walk 120 feet with the walker. He still needed supervision on stairs and assistance getting into the shower. Priya listed tasks he could do with his left hand and tasks he was relearning with his right. Buttons remained difficult. Medication management was not recommended without oversight. "I've taken pills for years," Dad said. "You've also skipped pills for years," I said. He turned to Melissa. "She keeps records." Melissa smiled. "Somebody should." Nina recommended continued outpatient speech therapy. Ryan leaned forward. "Bottom line, can he go home?" "With support," Dana said. "He has support." Dana tapped her tablet. "Let's define it." Ryan described his plan. He would stay overnight, prepare dinner, and handle emergencies. He said his job allowed flexibility, which was true only when the flexibility benefited his clients. "I can do Monday and Friday mornings," I said. Dad shifted in his chair. Melissa looked at Ryan. "What about Tuesday through Thursday? We're working on that." "Who's we?" Ryan smiled as if she were teasing. "The family." "I have work those mornings," she said. "I didn't volunteer you. I'm making sure." Dana suggested a home health aide for 3 mornings a week. Dad objected before she finished. "No strangers." Melissa reached across the table and touched his wrist. "Tom, everybody is a stranger before the first day." He looked at her, startled. "She's right," I said. Dad looked betrayed by the alliance. Ryan cleared his throat. "Let's try it ourselves for the first week. If it's too much, we hire somebody." "Who is ourselves?" I asked. He rubbed his forehead. "Can we not turn every sentence into a contract? Contracts are where people define words. Spoken like payroll." "Thank you." It wasn't a compliment. Melissa said, "I thought it was." Ryan looked at her. For the first time, I wondered how much of him she saw when no one else was around. Dana ended the argument by arranging a home safety assessment for Thursday. Discharge would be the following Monday if Dad continued improving. A home health nurse would visit twice during the first week, and outpatient therapy would begin after that. Dad sat taller when she said Monday. On the way out, Melissa caught up with me in the hallway. "How often have you been coming?" she asked. "Most mornings." Ryan said you alternate. I looked through the glass panel in the conference room door. Ryan was helping Dad with his coat, talking close to his ear. "We do," I said. "He comes Sundays. I alternate the other 6 days with myself." Melissa closed her eyes briefly. "Of course. He visits other times." "I know. He just makes it sound very organized." "It is organized. Because you organize it. Because Loretta downstairs would probably send a search party if I didn't show up." Melissa smiled, but it faded quickly. He told me moving into Tom's house was the only safe option. It might be. He also told me the plumbing made my place too crowded for both of us. "Your place has 2 bedrooms. One is an office. Very crowded." She folded her arms. "I'm not angry that he wants to help his father. I know. I'm angry that he presented something convenient as though convenience had nothing to do with it." That sounds familiar. Ryan called her name from down the hall. His voice was cheerful. Melissa glanced toward him. He's not a bad man. I know. It surprised both of us how quickly I answered. That afternoon, Priya taught Dad how to use a button hook. He hated it until he managed the third button. Then he asked where I could buy one. I'll order it, I said. And a shower chair. Dana orders that. Make sure it has a back. I wrote it down. Rubber feet. They generally don't put wheels on shower chairs. You joke, but people design stupid things. I added rubber feet to my notes. At home that night, I created a medication chart. I used large print, color-coded morning and evening doses and left space for initials. I printed 3 copies at work, laminated one, and put the others into a blue folder with Dad's discharge instructions. On Friday, Dad had a bad speech session. The word he couldn't find was wrench. Nina showed him the picture, and his face emptied. He knew it. I could see him know it. Tool, he said. What kind? Nina asked. He made a turning motion with his left hand. Take your time. Dad's eyes filled before he could look away. I had never seen him cry while Mom was sick. Not at the funeral, either. He had stood beside her casket and asked the director 3 times whether the parking lot would fit everyone. Now one tear moved down the weak side of his face. Nina set the picture aside. We can come back to it. Dad shook his head. W, she prompted. He swallowed. Ren. That's it. Wrench. Keep going. Wrench. Nina smiled. Yes. Dad stared at the picture like it had insulted him. Afterward, he let me wash his hair over the small sink in his room. I rolled a towel around his shoulders, worked shampoo through the gray hair, and kept water out of his ears because he complained when I didn't. Neither of us mentioned the tear. When I finished, he sat with a towel around his neck. You were here when I took the cup, he said. What cup? Coffee. Right hand. I was. Ryan thinks he saw it first. He saw it later. Dad nodded. You see the bad parts. Lucky me. No. He looked down at his hands. I mean, you see them and stay. For one dangerous second, it felt like enough. Then his phone buzzed. Ryan had posted in Tom's team. 1 more weekend and we bring Dad home. Couldn't have done it without everyone's support. Dad showed me the message. Put a heart on it, he said. I did. The home safety evaluator made Dad's house look dangerous by noticing it. She pointed at the loose rug by the sink, the extension cord under his recliner, the step between the kitchen and family room, and the absence of grab bars in the shower. I've lived here 32 years, Dad said. That rug has tried to kill me twice, I told her. Your mother picked it. Mom also picked wallpaper with geese wearing bonnets. She liked geese. She was wrong sometimes. Dad looked at Ryan for support. Ryan was taking pictures of the shower. Grab bars are easy. My contractor can do those. Your contractor hasn't finished your own bathroom, I said. He can spare an hour. The evaluator recommended removing 3 rugs and moving Dad's bedroom downstairs temporarily. I'm not sleeping in the dining room, Dad said. It would only be while stairs are difficult, she explained. People can see through the front window. We have curtains, I said. Those are decorative. Ryan stepped in with the soothing voice he used on clients who had just learned a roof leaked. We'll keep him upstairs. I'll be there. I can walk behind him. Every time? The evaluator asked. Every time. Dad nodded, satisfied. I wrote downstairs bed on my list. The grab bars appeared Saturday morning, installed by a subcontractor I had never met. Ryan texted me a photograph of the finished shower with the caption, handled. He did not remove the rugs. I rolled them up and carried them to the garage. Dad followed me with his walker, protesting each one. That runner protects the floor. From what? Traffic. 2 people live here and one of them is using a walker. Put it in the hall closet. It won't fit. Fold it. That's not how rugs work. Ryan came through the back door holding a suitcase and a garment bag. What are you 2 fighting about? She's throwing out your mother's rugs, Dad said. I'm moving them to the garage. Ryan smiled at him. Don't worry. I'll put everything back once you're steady. Dad relaxed. I carried the rug past Ryan. Thank God you got here. He ignored that. Melissa had refused to let him bring his dining chairs, 2 lamps, and espresso machine to Dad's house. He complained about it while taking over the upstairs guest room. She said, "I'm acting like I'm moving out." "You are moving out. I'm helping Dad. You're sleeping somewhere else indefinitely. She's making it about us." I watched him hang 3 dress shirts in the closet. "Is it possible that some part of it is about you? You talked to her at Briarwood for 5 minutes, and now you're her attorney?" "No. Her attorney would charge." Ryan zipped the garment bag closed. "You know, I am doing this voluntarily, so am I, exactly. So why are you angry all the time?" I looked at him. He shook his head. "Forget it." Monday morning, Loretta had my coffee waiting before I reached the desk. "Last one," she said. "Dad might refuse to leave. He would not be the first." I took the cup. "You'd miss him." "I'd miss Earl describing him." "Earl likes him." Earl requested noise-canceling headphones. She slid the sign-in sheet toward me. "You did good, honey." The words were so simple I had nowhere to put them. I mostly carried laundry. I see a lot of families carrying laundry. Not all of them learn the therapy schedule. I looked down and signed my name. Loretta tapped the cup. "Drink that before you cry in my lobby. I have a reputation." Upstairs, Dad was dressed in his navy work shirt and the brown shoes he had finally bullied Ben into approving. His suitcase sat open on the bed. Earl's daughter was helping Earl with breakfast, so the room felt crowded and oddly festive. Dad pointed at my coffee. "Where's mine?" "You're going home. You have a whole coffee maker. Has anybody checked it?" "I turned it off 6 weeks ago." "It's fine. Water might be stale. The pot is empty." "You don't know that." "I emptied it." "When?" "The day you had the stroke." He paused, as if the time between then and now had briefly become visible. "Right," he said. Denise reviewed the discharge packet. I put the paper medication copies in the blue folder. The laminated chart was still on Dad's rolling table because Angela wanted to verify 2 timing changes before we left. Ryan was supposed to arrive at 9. At 9:20, he texted that traffic was impossible. At 9:40, he called to ask whether Dad had been discharged yet. "He can leave when his ride gets here," I said. "Can you take him?" "I have a meeting at 11. You're already there. With my car. He needs help getting in, and you have his walker bag. It's just a bag that clips to the walker, which is in your trunk." Ryan sighed. "I'm 10 minutes away." He arrived 26 minutes later carrying a bouquet from the grocery store and wearing sunglasses on top of his head. "Ready to break out?" he asked. Dad lit up. Ryan took a picture of him beside the Briarwood sign. Denise came downstairs to say goodbye. Ben happened to pass through the lobby and made Dad promise to keep using the walker. Loretta hugged him over the front desk. Then Ryan loaded everything into his SUV while I went back upstairs for Dad's electric razor. "Gray cardigan," I called from the doorway. "It's behind the bathroom door." "I packed the closet," Ryan called back. I saw the cardigan hanging on the hook and assumed he meant he would get it. At Dad's house, Ryan filmed him walking through the front door. "Home," he said from behind his phone. "How does it feel?" Dad looked around the living room. His eyes stopped on the blank spaces where the rugs had been. "Different." "Good different." Dad found the camera and smiled. "Good." I put the blue folder on the kitchen counter and filled the weekly pill organizer. Ryan arranged the flowers in Mom's old ceramic pitcher. Dad sat at the table giving both of us instructions. "Coffee goes in the freezer." "No, it doesn't," I said. "Stays fresh. It absorbs moisture. Your mother kept it there." Mom also served instant coffee to people she didn't like. Ryan opened the freezer. "Where do you want it, Dad? Left side." Ryan put it there. Dad smiled at him. I left for work at 10:48 and joined my 11 o'clock meeting from the car. Nadine stared at me through the laptop screen. "Are you driving?" "I'm parked." "Where?" "Office parking lot. The office is 20 feet away. I didn't want to walk in late." "That makes no sense." "I know." My first scheduled morning at Dad's house was Friday, but he called Tuesday at 6:20 because he could not find the small white pill. "Which small white pill?" "The round one. Half your pills are small and white. The morning one." "Get the blue folder." "Where?" "Kitchen counter." Ryan moved it. I called Ryan. He had put the folder in the drawer beneath the microwave because he didn't want the counters cluttered. "Can you help him with the pills?" I asked. "I'm already on the parkway. You left him before he took them?" "He said he knew what to take." "The chart says supervision." "I stood there yesterday and he did it himself." "That was yesterday." "He's not helpless, Claire." I drove to Dad's house. The missing pill was under the toaster. Dad had dropped it, become embarrassed, and decided Ryan must have put the wrong pills in the organizer. I replaced it from the bottle, watched him swallow everything, and left the blue folder in the middle of the kitchen table. I was 47 minutes late to work. By Friday, Ryan had announced a homecoming dinner for Saturday. "Nothing big," he said. "Just Aunt Jean, Paula, Walt, and Linda from next door. Maybe Melissa." "Maybe Melissa? She's deciding. Are you cooking?" "We'll order Italian. Dad's supposed to watch Sodium. It's one night." That sentence was becoming the family blessing before every bad decision. Saturday afternoon, I brought a low-sodium chicken dish Dad disliked less than most healthy food. Ryan had ordered enough baked ziti to feed a construction crew. Melissa arrived with salad and 2 bottles of wine, kissed Dad's cheek, and greeted Ryan with the controlled politeness of someone who had not resolved anything. Aunt Jean brought a coconut cake and told Dad he looked thin. Paula, our cousin, squeezed his right hand to test it without asking. Walt and Linda stood near the fireplace while Ryan showed them the shower grab bars on his phone. "I had them put in before he came home," he said. "You're a good son," Linda told him. Ryan lowered his eyes modestly. Dad said, "He moved in." Aunt Jean pressed both hands to her chest. "Did he really? Somebody had to keep an eye on me." I carried plates from the kitchen. Linda touched my elbow. "And you're doing mornings?" 2 mornings. "She did most mornings at Rehab," Melissa said from the table. Ryan glanced at her. Linda smiled at me. "Briarwood is all the way across town from you, isn't it? It's close to my office. I don't know how you got there so early. Tom said they worked him before breakfast." "They did." I set down the plates. Aunt Jean looked confused. "I thought you couldn't visit because of work." The room shifted so slightly I might have imagined it. "Who told you that?" I asked. She looked toward Ryan. Ryan laughed. "Okay, this is getting exaggerated." "What is?" "All the visiting." Melissa put the salad tongs down. Ryan poured wine into his glass. Claire dropped off clothes and stuff. She wasn't exactly hanging out there. I waited for him to smile at me, to show me the joke. He didn't. "I was there almost every morning." "No, you weren't." Dad stared at his plate. I said, "I watched therapy. I helped him dress. I washed his hair." Ryan shook his head as though I were embarrassing myself. "You brought laundry, Claire," Dad told me. Every face at the table seemed to turn toward him and then toward me. I looked at Dad. "Is that what you told Ryan?" He moved a green bean with his fork. "Dad." "Can we eat?" he said. "Tell him I visited you." His mouth pulled tight at the weak corner. Ryan said, "Why are you making this a thing?" I kept looking at Dad. "Tell him." Dad finally raised his eyes. "Don't keep score, Claire," he said. "Ryan's worked hard." For a second, I thought I had misunderstood him. Keeping score? You know what I mean? No, I don't. Aunt Jean began cutting the coconut cake even though nobody had finished dinner. The knife scraped loudly against the plate. Dad kept his eyes on me. This is supposed to be a nice night. It was a nice 6 weeks, too, apparently. I'd love to meet whoever was there for them. "Claire," Ryan warned. I turned to him. "What day did Dad start lifting a cup with his right hand?" "What?" "You were there so much." "What day? Don't quiz me." "What was his physical therapist's name?" "I know his name." "Then say it." Ryan looked toward Melissa, as if she might explain why I was behaving this way. She didn't. "Ben," Dad said quietly. "Thank you, Dad." "And who sat there while Ben taught you to use the stairs?" Ryan put his glass down. "You heard all this from me. You didn't know the stairs were on the east side of the gym until I told you. Why would I need to know which side of the gym?" "You wouldn't, because you weren't there." His face sharpened. "Neither were you. Not like you're making it sound." Paula said. Maybe we should. No, I said. I'd really like to hear this. Ryan leaned back. You showed up early, dropped off some clothes, maybe stayed for 10 minutes? Fine. But you're acting like you lived there. I was there before work 5 or 6 days a week. 5 or 6. Some Sundays, too. Oh, come on. Dad said my name again. I turned to him. Did I help you shave? His fingers tightened around his fork. Did I sit with you after the bathroom accident? Ryan's eyes flicked toward Dad. I regretted the words the moment they left me, not because they were untrue, but because that humiliation had belonged to Dad. He had trusted me with it. I had pulled it into the light to defend myself. His face went dark. I'm sorry, I said. I shouldn't have said that. You shouldn't have, he replied. Ryan looked disgusted. What is wrong with you? The answer was apparently long enough that no one volunteered it. Melissa stood and picked up her wine glass. I'm going to get some air. Ryan watched her walk through the kitchen. Great, he said. Now you've upset her too. Melissa knows I visited. She knows what you told her. I told her because she asked. You always do this. Do what? Build a file. I laughed once. A file? Every favor, every little thing you do, you save it. Then when you're mad, you dump it on the table and expect everybody to applaud. The blue folder was visible on the kitchen counter behind him. I had spent 2 nights creating the charts inside it, and he had moved it because it cluttered the room. I looked at Dad. He said nothing. Ryan spread his hands. I didn't ask you to go every morning. No, you put me on the calendar, and you went. That was your choice. Again, enough truth to hurt. Dad finally spoke. You're both helping me. That isn't what he said. I know what he said. Then correct him. Dad's gaze shifted to Ryan. Ryan looked wounded now, which was his most effective expression. He did not look guilty. He looked like the family had turned on him after he tried his best. Dad sighed. Ryan didn't mean never. Yes, I did, Ryan said. Aunt Jean set the cake knife down. Dad flinched, but he recovered quickly. He means you weren't there visiting. You were doing errands. That's different. I stared at him. He had found a narrower definition of love so Ryan could still fit inside it. Linda cleared her throat. The chicken is very good. Nobody answered. I picked up my purse. Dad said, don't leave. I have work in the morning. It's Saturday. Then I'm starting early. Claire. I took my baking dish from the counter. The chicken was mostly untouched. Ryan shook his head. There. She does this too. She leaves so everyone chases her. I set the dish back down. Keep it. I walked out through the kitchen. Melissa stood on the back patio with both hands wrapped around her wine glass. The porch light caught the straight edge of her hair. I believe you, she said. I kept moving. Claire. I stopped beside the steps. I know he's lying, she said. That makes one of you, more than one, not the one that matters. Her mouth tightened. Tom's afraid Ryan will leave. I know, and he knows you won't. The night air smelled like cut grass and somebody's charcoal grill. I know that too, I said. Ryan does this when he feels compared. I wasn't comparing us. He was. I looked through the kitchen window. Ryan was standing behind Dad's chair with one hand on his shoulder. The others were eating cake now, heads bent toward their plates. From outside, it looked peaceful. Melissa said, I'm sorry. You didn't do it. I've let him tell me the version where you're difficult. That one isn't entirely fictional. She almost smiled. I went home without the baking dish. Dad called twice before I reached my house. Ryan called once. I put my phone face down on the kitchen counter and opened the refrigerator. There was half a container of milk, mustard, 2 eggs, and the fragrance-free laundry detergent I had set inside by mistake after my last grocery trip. I moved the detergent to the basement and went to bed. At 7 the next morning, someone pounded on my front door. I sat upright, heart racing. My phone showed 6 missed calls. The pounding came again. Claire. Ryan. I pulled on a robe and opened the door. He stood on the porch wearing yesterday's pants and a t-shirt. Finally. What happened? Dad can't find his gray sweater. I stared at him. The cardigan, he said. The heavy one. You came to my house at 7 in the morning because of a cardigan? He thinks he left it at Briarwood. He did. You said I packed it. You said you packed the closet. I packed the closet. It wasn't in there. It was behind the bathroom door. I told you. No, you shouted something while I was carrying bags. That was me telling you. He rubbed both hands over his face. He won't let it go. Then go get it. It's Sunday. I don't know when they open. Briarwood is always open. People live there. Can you call that woman at the desk? Loretta? I don't know her name. Of course he didn't. No. His hands dropped. You're seriously doing this? Doing what? Punishing Dad because you're mad at me. He has other sweaters. It was Mom's gift. That stopped me. I knew the cardigan had been a Christmas present from Mom. I also knew Dad had not mentioned that fact until it became useful. I'll call later, I said. He wants to go. He just got home. He says if he goes, people won't lose his stuff. Then take him. Ryan stared at me. You know, some of us don't turn everything into a point. I closed the door. At 8:30, he texted, taking Dad to Briarwood. Your laminated chart is still there, too. Angela wrote changes on it, if you care. I hated the last 3 words enough to put on clothes. I drove separately because I did not want to sit in Ryan's SUV. By the time I reached Briarwood, his car was parked near the entrance. Dad was getting out slowly, one hand on the cane he had been approved to use only for short distances. His walker remained folded in the back. Where's the walker? I asked. Dad said, I don't need it. Ryan closed the hatch. It's a quick trip. He's supposed to use it outside. We've got him. Dad started toward the entrance. The automatic doors opened, and the smell of cinnamon air freshener hit me. Loretta sat behind the desk in purple glasses, reading another paperback. This man had a shirt on, though only because he appeared to be a cowboy. She looked up. Well, somebody missed us. Dad lifted his cane. You people stole my sweater. Good morning to you too, Tom. Ryan leaned an elbow on the desk. Gray cardigan, room 214. We called. Loretta checked a note beside the phone. Housekeeping found it. They're bringing it down. I'll go up, Ryan said. You're no longer on the visitor list for that room. Earl has a new roommate. I just need the cardigan. And they're bringing it down. Ryan turned away, irritated. I signed the visitor log out of habit before realizing I did not need to. Loretta saw me and smiled. You're late today. The clock above her read 10:17. Day off, I said. That's allowed? Apparently not. She reached into the cabinet behind her and took out the secret coffee machine. Ryan watched her fill the reservoir. You want coffee? He asked Dad. Dad shook his head. Loretta put in a dark roast pod. I did not ask. She took 1 cream cup from a basket, poured it in, and slid the coffee across the counter. Dark roast, 1 cream, no sugar. Ryan stopped moving. I wrapped my hand around the cup. Loretta looked past me toward Dad. How was the first week home? He glanced at Ryan. Fine, he said. Your daughter get that pill schedule set up? She dropped off a folder, Ryan said. Loretta's eyes moved to him. Actually, he continued, that's part of why we're here. Claire left her chart upstairs. I left it because Angela was updating it. Ryan laughed. See? Always something to prove you were here. Loretta's face changed. She was here, sure, dropping things off. Every morning. Ryan gave a patient smile. She told everybody that. I think maybe there's some confusion about what counts as a visit. There's no confusion. Dad shifted his cane. Ryan glanced at him, then back at Loretta. Claire never visited Dad in rehab, not in the way she's making it sound. The elevator doors opened. Ben stepped out, holding Dad's gray cardigan over one arm and my laminated medication chart in his hand. Tom, he said. Back already? Dad lifted his good hand. Ben walked toward us. And Claire, no coffee delivery this morning? The man complained about our coffee for 6 straight weeks. Another therapist came through the lobby behind him. Claire, Priya called. Did he use the button hook at home? Ryan's smile stayed in place, but the rest of his face did not. Ben handed me the chart. Angela said you'd want this. She marked the new evening time. Thank you. He gave Dad the cardigan and asked how the stairs were going. Dad answered quietly. Ryan said, obviously she was here sometimes. Loretta stared at him. Sometimes? He looked at me. You set this up? I almost laughed. Yes, Ryan. I arranged for the entire rehabilitation center to remember me. You talk to people. You tell them things. What things? My coffee order? You're enjoying this. That was the strange part. I wasn't. I had imagined vindication as heat, as relief, as the pleasure of watching Ryan run out of words. Instead, I felt tired. Loretta knew. Ben knew. Priya knew. The facts were standing in the lobby wearing name tags. Dad still would not look at me. Ben sensed the air and stepped back. Good seeing you, Tom. Keep working. We walked outside without speaking. At Ryan's SUV, Dad put on the cardigan even though the morning was warm. Ryan opened the passenger door. Dad turned to me. Why'd you have to embarrass him? I looked at the automatic doors behind us. I didn't make Loretta know my coffee order. You pushed it. I stood there. You always have to be right. Was I there? He gripped the cane handle. That's not the point. Ryan stayed on the other side of the SUV, pretending not to listen. I held out the laminated chart. Dad looked at it, then at me. I walked around the car and handed it to Ryan. You said I never visited. You said you handled Dad's care. I did handle it. Good. He took the chart. Then you can keep handling it. His expression shifted. What does that mean? It means I'm going to visit Dad as his daughter. I'm not doing invisible nursing work while you tell people I was never there. Dad said, Claire, don't be ridiculous. I'll come for Sunday coffee. I can still do Friday mornings for now. Everything else is yours. Ryan looked at the chart as if I had handed him something dirty. You'll change your mind, he said. I picked up my coffee from the hood of my car. No, I said. That's the part you're finally going to have to learn. My phone started ringing before I reached the first traffic light. Dad. I let it ring. At the second light, Ryan called. At the third, Tom's team lit up with a message from Aunt Jean. So glad the cardigan was found. Family keeps us warm in more ways than one. I had no idea what Ryan had told her, but it apparently involved knitwear and forgiveness. When I got home, Dad left a voicemail. You misunderstood. Call me. Ryan's voicemail came next. You made your point. Don't drag this out. Melissa sent a text without commentary. Are you okay? I replied. Not especially. She wrote, he says you quit. Of course he did. Ryan could turn any boundary into a resignation letter. I typed, I'm still Dad's daughter. 3 dots moved across the screen. That may be what he's afraid of. I put my phone in a kitchen drawer and left it there until evening. Monday morning, I woke at 6 without an alarm. For weeks, my body had expected a grocery bag of laundry, a dim lobby, and whatever version of Dad waited upstairs. I lay in bed staring at the ceiling while guilt ran through its checklist. Had Ryan remembered the morning pills? Would Dad use the walker on the stairs? Was the shower chair stable? Had anyone moved the blue folder again? At 6:42, the phone rang from the kitchen drawer. I got up and answered. Ryan spoke before I said hello. Where are you? Home. You're on the calendar. I deleted Monday. You said you could do Monday and Friday. That was before you said I never visited. Are you seriously leaving Dad without breakfast over an argument? You're there. I have a showing at 8. Then make breakfast before you leave. He needs to shower. Use the shower chair. I can't help him shower. Why? A pause. It's uncomfortable. I leaned against the counter. Imagine that. Don't. He's your father on Mondays, too. Dad spoke somewhere near him. Give me the phone. Ryan muffled the receiver, but I heard them argue. Then Dad came on. Claire. Morning. Your brother has work. So do I. He has to leave early. Then you can shower later. I always shower in the morning. You showered at night for 20 years when you worked second shift. That was different. How? I had a reason. You have a reason now. He breathed into the phone. This is childish? I agree. You said Monday. I also said I wasn't doing care while Ryan erased it. Who's erasing anything? He was upset. He doubled down in front of half the rehab center. He felt cornered. By the receptionist making coffee? Dad went quiet. I opened the refrigerator and found the eggs. You have yogurt, I said. There's oatmeal in the cabinet. Your pills are in the organizer. Ryan can shower you tonight. He has dinner with Melissa. I closed the refrigerator. Then he should reschedule. You want him to lose his relationship? I want him to understand calendars. Dad's voice hardened. Forget it. I don't need either of you. He hung up. At 7:15, Ryan sent a picture of burnt toast and scrambled eggs on one of Mom's blue plates, handled. I studied the picture. The eggs were gray. Dad's morning pills sat in a small cup beside them. I did not reply. I arrived at the office at 7:58. Nadine stood outside my cubicle holding her own coffee and looking suspicious. You're early, I work here. Recently, that's been more of a conceptual arrangement. I put down my purse. Dad's home. How is that going? My brother made eggs. She waited. That's the entire update. Were they edible? Probably not. Then I'll keep your afternoon open. I laughed despite myself. The first hour felt wrong. Nobody needed me to find glasses that were already on their face. Mike's overtime was correct. Dave had remembered to clock out. I kept checking my phone even though it had not made a sound. At 9:30, Ryan sent another message. Home nurse coming at 10. Your blue folder is missing the outpatient number. Page 4, I replied. No, it's not. Check the back of page 3. It should be labeled. It is labeled outpatient therapy. Well, found it. He did not say thank you. The home health nurse called me at noon because my number was still listed as primary contact. Tom's doing well, she said. His blood pressure is a little elevated, but he says he and his son had a stressful morning. That sounds right. He missed one medication. Which one? She named it. I closed my eyes. It's the small white pill in the evening section. The organizer has it in morning. I didn't fill that organizer. Oh, Tom said you did. I filled the first one. Ryan filled this week. There was a pause. Should I change the primary contact? I looked through the glass wall of Nadine's office. She was speaking to a manager with one finger pressed against her temple. Yes, put Ryan first. Would you like to stay secondary? I almost said no. Yes. Some habits did not disappear just because I had made a speech in a parking lot. Ryan called 2 minutes later. Why did you tell the nurse I filled the pills wrong? Because you filled the pills wrong. One pill, one blood pressure pill. The chart's confusing. I made it for Dad. Large print, morning in yellow, evening in blue. Why is morning yellow? Sunrise. That's not obvious. Dad understood it. You could have just told me the pill moved. You had the laminated chart. He exhaled hard. This is what you wanted, isn't it? What? For me to screw up. No. You're enjoying watching me struggle. That's what you said at Briarwood, too. You need me to be enjoying this so you don't have to notice what it cost me. Silence. Then he said, I'm changing the primary contact back. You can't change it back. You're the one there. You know his history better. Then call me when someone asks for his history. Primary means they call you first. I have a job. I looked at the payroll schedule on my screen. Yes, I said. I've heard. Friday morning, I went to Dad's house at 6:30 as promised. Ryan's shoes were in the middle of the hallway. A takeout container sat open on the kitchen counter. The blue folder was beneath a stack of mail, and the laminated chart had acquired a coffee ring. Dad sat at the table in his robe. You're late, he said. It's 6:32. You used to get to Briarwood earlier. I had better parking. He watched me put my purse on a chair. Ryan makes terrible coffee. I thought he had an espresso machine. Melissa wouldn't let him bring it. She has limits. Dad frowned. I made his oatmeal and watched him take his pills. The organizer was correct. Ryan had fixed it. Laundry's downstairs, Dad said. I'm not doing laundry today. You're here for an hour. I'm here for breakfast and pills. Machine does the work. Then Ryan can put it in the machine. He was up twice with me last night. I looked toward the ceiling. Why? Bathroom. Are you okay? I'm fine. Did you fall? No. I waited. Dad spread his left hand on the table. He heard me walking. Were you using the cane? Yes. Walker? No. Then it's good he heard you. Dad took a bite of oatmeal. He didn't yell. The fact that he sounded surprised made me sit down. What did he do? Walked behind me, like the woman said. I pictured Ryan barefoot on the stairs, one hand hovering near Dad's back. The image did not fit the version of him I wanted to stay angry at. That was good, I said. He's trying. I know. So are you done punishing him? There it was. A tender fact turned into a crowbar. I'm not punishing him. You stopped helping right when I came home. I changed how I'm helping after both of you lied about how I helped before. I didn't lie. You sat at the table and let him say I was never there. Dad looked at the oatmeal. Then you told him I just ran errands. You did run errands. I also sat beside you while you cried over the word wrench. His face went still. I didn't tell anyone at dinner, I said. I'm telling you, you know what happened. I was embarrassed. So you made me the embarrassing one. He pushed the bowl away. From upstairs came the creak of a floorboard. Ryan appeared in the doorway wearing sweatpants, his hair flattened on one side. Oh, he said when he saw me. You came. I said Friday. He looked at the clock. I have a call at 7. Can you stay until 8? No, half an hour. I leave at 7:30. Claire. Ask before you put me on the calendar. He opened the refrigerator and stared inside. Where's the milk? Gone, Dad said. I bought a gallon. You bought skim. That's milk. It's white water. Ryan looked at me. Can you stop on your way tomorrow? I'm not coming tomorrow. For milk, the store is 5 minutes away. It's 5 minutes away for you, too. He shut the refrigerator harder than necessary. Dad said, Forget it. I'll drink water. Ryan turned on him. You can drink skim milk. You drink it. I do. Because you don't know better. I picked up my purse. See you Sunday, I said. Dad did not answer. Ryan followed me onto the porch. You're leaving us to fight. You were fighting before I arrived. He listens to you. Then maybe you shouldn't have told him my visits didn't count. Ryan rubbed his face. He looked tired. Not performatively tired. His eyes were puffy, and there was a small stain on the shoulder of his t-shirt. I said something stupid, he muttered. You said it repeatedly. Fine. Several stupid things. I waited. He looked toward the front door. I need you to take Tuesday morning. I have a closing. No. What do you want me to say? The truth. To who? That question is the problem. His jaw tightened. You want a public confession. I want you to stop making me responsible for fixing what you broke. I walked to my car. Sunday coffee lasted 40 minutes. I brought Dad a bag of dark roast from the cafe near my house. I did not bring laundry detergent, groceries, or the low-sodium soup he mentioned twice on the phone. Dad sat in his recliner wearing the gray cardigan. Ryan watched the football pregame show from the couch. You staying for lunch? Dad asked. No. Why not? I came for coffee. You always stay. Not always. Ryan looked at me over his mug but said nothing. Dad asked if I had seen the hamper downstairs. I told him I had not gone downstairs. He asked whether Friday counted as one of my 2 mornings if I stayed only an hour. I told him it counted if I stayed 10 minutes. When I stood to leave, his face folded into a look I recognized from the hospital. Everything's different, he said. Yes, I came home and everything's different. I nearly sat back down. Then Ryan's phone rang. He answered, listened, and walked into the kitchen. Dad lowered his voice. He's going out. He's allowed. Says he'll be back by dinner. Okay, you could stay? I said I was leaving. He turned toward the television. I kissed the top of his head. He did not look at me. At 5:40, he called. Ryan's not back. Did you call him? He says another hour. Are you hungry? I can wait. What did you eat for lunch? Donuts. Those aren't lunch. They had filling. I opened a delivery app. I'll order you chicken and rice. From where? Carmine's. That takes forever. 40 minutes. You could be here in 28. There it was, precise as a map. I'm ordering the food. Never mind. Dad, I said never mind. He hung up. I ordered it anyway and added a side of green beans. The delivery notification came 36 minutes later. I watched the little car move toward his house on the screen. Then I sat at my own kitchen table and ate dinner while it was still hot. Dad called the next morning to complain that the green beans were overcooked. Did you eat the chicken? Some. And the rice? Too much rice. Was there enough food? That's not the point. I smiled into my coffee. Good. I'm glad you ate. I didn't thank you. You don't have to. That place charges too much. I already paid. Waste of money. The next time, eat the skim milk. He hung up on me, but not before I heard the laugh he tried to hide. Ryan sent no messages until Tuesday afternoon. Outpatient speech therapy at 3. Can you take him? No, I have a closing. Then reschedule therapy or the closing. The closing involves 6 other people. Therapy involves Dad. He called. This isn't a dentist appointment. They only had 1 opening. Then you should take it. You're just sitting at a desk. I stared at my computer. And I'm going to pretend you didn't say that. You know what I mean. No. Tell me. I'm curious what you think happens at my job. I'm saying you don't have clients physically waiting for you. I have 214 employees waiting for me to make sure they get paid. Fine. You're very important. It's not about importance. Everything is about importance with you lately. Take Dad to therapy. He did. At 4:30, Ryan texted again. How long are these appointments? 45 minutes. We've been here an hour and a half. There's usually paperwork the first time. Would have been useful to know. It's in the blue folder. 5 minutes passed. Found it. I pictured him in a waiting room with Dad, both of them irritated, neither willing to admit they had failed to read page 7. At 6, Ryan called from his car. Why does he get mean after therapy? He's frustrated. I know he's frustrated. He told the therapist her cards were stupid. What cards? Pictures. She wanted him to name things. He hates that. He called a ladder stairs for a wall. That's pretty good. He got angry when she corrected him. Did he cry? Ryan was silent. Did he? He got upset. What was the word? Thermometer. Oh, why oh? Some words hit him harder. Why? Because he knows what they are. That makes no sense. It does to him. I could hear traffic through the phone. Ryan said, he told the therapist you used to help him practice. I did. With what? Anything in the room. Cup, window, lamp. He said you made jokes. He liked it better when it didn't feel like a test. Ryan was quiet again. Try categories, I said. If he can't find a word, ask whether it's a tool or food or furniture. Don't jump in too fast. Why isn't this in the folder? Because I'm not a speech therapist. You know more than the folder. That's what happens when you visit. The words left a clean cut between us. Ryan did not argue. Finally, he said, We're going through a drive-through. Watch the salt. I know. You asked. I didn't ask. You called me. I'm hanging up now. Melissa brought my baking dish back Wednesday night. She stood on my porch holding it with both hands. It was washed so thoroughly that even the baked edge around the rim was gone. I soaked it, she said. I can see that. I was angry. You clean when you're angry? I clean other people's things. Mine remain a disaster. I invited her in. She looked around my kitchen with the mild surprise of someone realizing I had a house when she had mostly known me as a person entering Dad's. It's nice, she said. Thank you. No expired sauce? Not since the inspection. She set the dish on the counter. Ryan missed his closing yesterday. He said 6 people were waiting. They closed without him. Oh, he's furious. At me, at everyone, mostly himself, which he distributes among the rest of us. I filled the kettle. Are you here to ask me to help? No. I looked at her. I considered it, she admitted. Then I decided I like myself. That's healthy. I'm working on it. We sat at my kitchen table with tea. Melissa held the mug near her face but didn't drink. "He's actually trying," she said. "I know." He got up with Tom 3 times Monday night. He makes dinner. Bad dinner, but food exists. I'm not asking him to fail. I know you're not. Everyone keeps telling me he's trying as though it means I have to disappear again. I'm not asking you to disappear either. I waited. Melissa looked down into the tea. Tom compares us. You and me, everyone to you. You made better oatmeal. You folded towels correctly. You knew where the insurance card was. You understood what he meant when he asked for the thing near the other thing. That last one is a gift. He told Ryan you never would have missed the blood pressure pill. I rubbed my forehead. Ryan threw the pill organizer across the kitchen. Was it empty? Yes. Good. That's what I said. I laughed. Melissa finally drank her tea. Ryan told Tom if you were so perfect, he should call you. Tom said you would come if he really needed you. The laugh left. He says that because he believes it. Would you? If he really needed me, then maybe he's right. He also thinks wanting something badly enough makes it a need. Melissa nodded. Ryan does too. When I went to Dad's house Friday morning, he and Ryan were not speaking. Dad sat at the kitchen table in his gray cardigan. Ryan stood at the counter aggressively spreading peanut butter on toast. What happened? I asked. Nothing, they both said. I put Dad's pills beside his bowl. Ryan slapped the second piece of toast onto the first. He tried the stairs alone. I used the cane. You're supposed to have someone behind you. I was behind me. That sentence doesn't even make sense. Dad looked at me. Tell him I can use the stairs. With someone behind you. I've been doing them for 2 weeks. With someone behind you. Ryan pointed the butter knife at me. Thank you. Don't point a knife. It's a butter knife. You're emotional. I'm not emotional. Dad muttered, You threw my pills. Ryan put the knife down. I sat across from Dad. Why did you go upstairs alone? He was on the phone. You could wait. My bathroom's upstairs. There's one down here. That's a powder room. It has a toilet. It's for guests. Your bladder doesn't know that. Ryan snorted. Dad glared at him. Claire never made me feel like an invalid. Yes, I did, I said. You told me constantly. She knew when to leave me alone. No, I didn't. You yelled at me for moving toward you. Ryan looked at me. He does that. I know. Dad sat back. Whose side are you on? Mine. Neither of them had an answer ready. I stayed for breakfast and pills. When Dad asked about laundry, Ryan said he had already moved it to the dryer. Dad complained that Ryan used too much detergent. Your clothes are clean, Ryan said. They smell like chemicals. It's fragrance-free. I can smell the absence. I bit the inside of my cheek. After breakfast, Dad demonstrated his speech exercises. Ryan held up objects from the kitchen, and Dad named them. Spatula. Good, Ryan said. Don't say good like I'm a dog. Correct, Ryan said. Don't say correct either. What am I supposed to say? Nothing. Ryan held up the toaster. Toaster. He put it down silently. Dad frowned. You can nod. Ryan looked at me. He's very easy to motivate, I said. Dad's outpatient physical therapy was later that morning. Ryan took him without asking me. He packed the blue folder, checked the medication chart, and brought the walker even though Dad argued for the cane. I noticed all of it. That did not erase anything. On Sunday, Aunt Jean arrived during coffee with a container of chicken soup. She kissed Dad, told Ryan he looked exhausted, and gave me a long, meaningful hug. I hate when family fights, she said. So do I. Your father needs peace. He needs low sodium. She looked at the soup. I barely salted it. I meant generally. Ryan carried the soup to the kitchen. Dad stayed in his recliner, pretending the television was too loud for him to hear us. Aunt Jean lowered her voice. Your brother said you've stopped helping. I visit. I do Friday mornings. Ryan handles the rest. Ryan has a very demanding career. So do I. Of course. but you're so good with details." I smiled. "Ryan's learning." She sighed. "Your mother always said you were the practical one. Mom also said Ryan could talk a fish into buying water." Dad laughed from the recliner. Aunt Jean gave him a look. "Tom, stay out of it. I'm sitting right here." She patted my hand. "Maybe you could make peace for his sake." "I'm peaceful." "You know what I mean." "I do. You want me to do enough work that nobody has to feel uncomfortable." Her hand pulled back. "That isn't fair," she said. "Neither was telling you I never visited." Aunt Jean looked toward Dad. "I didn't say I believe that. You repeated it at dinner. I was confused. Did Ryan correct you?" She said nothing. I picked up my coffee. If he wants to make peace, he knows what he lied about. In the kitchen, something clattered. Ryan had probably heard. Aunt Jean left after 20 minutes. She hugged Dad, told Ryan to get some rest, and told me she loved me in the tone people use when love is supposed to end an argument. Dad waited until the front door closed. "You embarrassed your aunt." I answered her. "You could have let it go." So could she. Ryan came back from the kitchen. Jean called me first. Of course she did. She said you looked overwhelmed at dinner. I looked overwhelmed because you were lying. I told her I got the schedule mixed up. I stared at him. "You told her that?" "Yes. That isn't what happened. It was close enough." "No. You accused me of inventing 6 weeks. I'm trying to fix it." "By changing the lie?" Dad said. "He told her you were there." Ryan spread his hands. "What more do you want?" "The truth without editing." He looked exhausted again. Dad said, "Claire likes exact words." I turned to him. "You used to know the exact name of every engine part. Did that mean you were difficult, or did the right word matter?" His face changed. I put my mug down and left before either of them answered. That evening, Ryan showed up at my house. He was holding the blue folder. "I need you to show me everything I'm missing," he said. I looked at the folder, then at him. "That's not an apology." "I know. Do you know what one sounds like?" "Yes." "Then why are you here?" His fingers tightened around the folder. "Because Dad's getting stronger," he said, "and somehow taking care of him is getting harder." "That sounds like Dad," I said. Ryan looked past me into the kitchen. "Can I come in?" "I don't know. Are you going to reorganize my counters?" "I put one folder in one drawer. You also put coffee in the freezer. Dad wanted it there. That's how it starts." He almost smiled. I stepped aside. Ryan set the blue folder on my kitchen table and pulled out the medication chart. He had added notes in black ink. Tuesday's blood pressure, Friday's therapy time. A question mark beside the evening pill he had misplaced. "You kept records," I said. "I can write things down. Apparently, it runs in the family." He sat across from me. "The pills aren't the problem." "What is?" "Everything turns into a fight. Still sounds like Dad. He's stronger now, so he thinks he can do whatever he wants. He hides the walker. He won't use the downstairs bathroom. He asks me to help, then tells me I'm helping wrong." "Did you fold his towels lengthwise?" "He told you about that?" "No. He told me about it in 2017. Ryan rubbed both hands down his face. "He called Melissa yesterday because I bought the wrong soup." "What was wrong with it?" "Tomato basil. He hates basil. He eats pesto. Pesto is green. Dad thinks that makes it a vegetable. That doesn't make any sense. You keep saying that, like sense is required." He leaned back. His shirt was wrinkled, and the skin under his eyes had gone gray. "I'm behind at work," he said. "The condo's a mess. Melissa says I only come over when I need clean clothes or sex." "Do you?" "That's not the point. It might be her point. I came here for help, not a trial. I can show you what's in the folder. I'm not taking mornings." "I know." The words surprised me. Ryan opened to the therapy pages. He had highlighted exercises and written reminders in the margins. "He won't do these for me. He didn't do them for me either. He said you made it fun." I insulted him. I tried that. He called me disrespectful. "You're the favorite." "Different rules?" Ryan's mouth tightened. "Can you stop calling me that?" "Why? Because it sounds stupid." "It is stupid. I never asked to be the favorite." "No, You just accepted the benefits. What was I supposed to do when we were growing up? Tell Dad not to come to my games? You could have stopped pretending he came to mine. Ryan looked down at the papers. I had not planned to say that. The old example arrived fully formed. My college award dinner, the empty chair beside Mom, Dad leaving because Ryan's car had broken down 2 towns away. Ryan had been 22. He could have called a tow truck. Dad had driven past 3. That was a long time ago, he said. I know. Your award was for perfect attendance. It was for academic excellence. Okay. You don't even remember. I remember Mom taking pictures. Mom took pictures because Dad left. Ryan turned the page even though he had not read the first one. I put my hand on the folder. This isn't helping. No, he said. But apparently we're doing exact words now. For once, he had a right to be angry. I let go of the folder. We went through the medication chart, the home exercises, and Dad's weekly schedule. Ryan knew more than I expected. He knew which pills had to be taken with food. He knew Dad's right shoulder hurt when he overused the walker. He'd moved the nighttime water glass to the left side of the bed because Dad kept knocking it over with his weak hand. He was doing the work. The facts sat between us without canceling what came before it. You need an aide, I said. I need 3 mornings. You need an aide for 3 mornings. Dad won't agree. Then Dad has chosen to wait until you're available. He says he'll do it himself. That's also a choice. He could fall. Yes. Ryan stared at me. How can you say that? Because it's true. So we just let him get hurt? No. We offer safe options. We don't make ourselves the only option because he rejects everything else. You sound like Dana. Dana sleeps at night. He closed the folder. He'll say we're ganging up on him. We are. Great. I'll be there when you tell him. I won't do it for you. Fine. And you call the agency. You have the number. Page 11. He opened the folder again. The number was on page 11. We went to Dad's house Tuesday evening because Ryan said waiting would give him time to invent reasons not to do it. Dad sat in the recliner with the television loud enough to reach neighboring counties. His cane leaned against the armrest. The walker was nowhere in sight. Ryan muted the television. Dad looked at him. I was watching. We need to talk. That's never followed by anything good. I sat on the couch. We want to hire someone for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday mornings. No. Ryan stayed standing. Marisol comes recommended by the agency. She's been doing home care for 14 years. No strangers? She'll stop being a stranger after she comes. Dad reached for the remote. Ryan moved it out of reach. That's my remote. Listen first. I said no. Ryan looked at me. I kept my hands in my lap. He took a breath. I can't keep missing work. Your sister can come. No, I said. You're already here. For a conversation. You could do 3 mornings. I'm not doing 3 mornings. Dad looked at Ryan. See? Everything has to be punishment. Ryan stared at the floor. I waited for him to agree or soften it or explain my refusal in a way that protected him. Instead, he said, Claire already said no. Dad blinked. Ryan continued, She's doing Friday. I'm doing Monday. We need help the other days. I don't want help. Then you don't shower those mornings, and you eat something you can make safely. I can make eggs. You left the burner on Saturday. I was still cooking. You were in the living room. Toast popped. You were cooking eggs. I know what I was cooking. Dad looked at me. You going to let him talk to me like this? Yes. His face hardened. Your mother would never have brought some stranger into this house. Mom hired a cleaning woman without telling you and called her a friend from church for 2 years. Dad's eyes narrowed. Ruth? Ruth? She said she liked cleaning. Nobody likes cleaning your baseboards for free. Ryan sat on the edge of the coffee table. Marisol comes once. If you hate her, we call somebody else. I'll hate her. Then you'll have a good morning. Dad glared at both of us. What if I say no? Ryan's eyes found mine again. I did not answer for him. He said, Then I go to work, Claire goes to work, and you manage until one of us is available. You'd leave me. I leave every day, Dad. The words were simple. Dad reacted as though Ryan had broken a promise. "You said you'd be here." I said I'd stay here. I didn't say I'd quit my job. "So this is temporary. Am I staying here?" Dad looked toward me. I realized he had heard Ryan's offer as something larger than it was. Maybe we all had. Ryan moving into the guest room had felt like proof that the favorite son had finally chosen him. The condo would be finished eventually. Melissa had not stopped waiting entirely. Dad was improving. Every good thing carried Ryan toward the door. "You'll still have people here," I said. "Paid people. They count. Not the same." "No," I said. "They're not." Marisol arrived Wednesday at 7, wearing navy scrubs and carrying a lunch bag shaped like a strawberry. Dad opened the door himself because he wanted her to see that he could. "You're not supposed to walk without the cane," she said before introducing herself. Dad looked at me. "I like her," I said. He did not. Marisol asked where he kept the oatmeal. Dad told her he ate eggs. She asked whether he could stand at the stove safely. Dad said yes. Ryan and I said no at the same time. "I can make eggs," Marisol said. "I like them soft. I like clear instructions. They stick if you use that pan. Then I'll use a different pan. Other pan heat's uneven." Marisol opened the cabinet. "How many bad pans do you own?" Dad followed her into the kitchen. Ryan whispered, 14 years. Apparently nobody survived the first 13. We left together. On the porch, Ryan exhaled like he had been holding his breath for a week. "Was that so hard?" I asked. "Yes, fair." He went to work. I went to mine. At 8:30, Marisol texted the family group. Breakfast eaten, medications taken, shower complete. Walked to mailbox and back with cane. Tom says eggs were acceptable. Ryan added a celebration emoji. I wrote, "Highest praise available." Dad did not respond. By Friday, he claimed Marisol had reorganized his entire kitchen. She had moved the cinnamon 6 inches. "She says I need labels," he told me. "You do. I know where things are. You called me because the blue folder was in a drawer. Ryan put it there. Where'd you think cinnamon lived?" "Next to sugar." "It is next to sugar. Other side." Ryan came in wearing a suit and took coffee from the pot. "Marisol's coming next week," he said. Dad frowned. "Nobody asked me." "We asked you Tuesday. You didn't listen to my answer." "We heard it. It was impractical." Dad turned to me. He's getting bossy. He learned from the best." Ryan drank his coffee. "Too weak." "I made it," Dad said. Ryan poured it out and made another pot without asking me to do it. The change was small enough that Dad did not notice. I did. Sunday, Ryan showed up at my house again. This time he carried nothing. "I'm not helping with the folder," I said. "I know." "Did Dad fire Marisol?" He tried. She told him she'd see him Tuesday. I opened the door wider. Ryan stayed on the porch. "At Briarwood," he said, "Dad used to call me at night. I know. He'd tell me you dropped off laundry." I waited. "He said you came early sometimes. I thought that meant 10 minutes. Did you ask?" "No. Why not?" His eyes moved toward the driveway. "One morning, he called after therapy," Ryan said. "He said you were the only reason he got through it. He said you knew when he was scared even when he didn't say it. I could hear a lawnmower somewhere behind my house." Ryan pushed his hands into his pockets. "I'd been there the day before," he continued. "I brought the milkshake. He barely talked to me after I left. Then he called me to talk about you, so you knew. I knew you were there more than I said. You said never." "I know." "Why?" Ryan looked at me then. "Because for 5 minutes," he said, "I was the one Dad looked past." The answer was so honest it took some of the anger out of me. Not all of it. "Welcome to my childhood," I said. Ryan nodded once. "Yeah. You felt overlooked for 5 minutes, so you erased 6 weeks. When you put it that way, how else would you put it?" He looked down at the porch boards. "I was jealous. Of me doing his laundry? Of him needing you. He needs everyone, not the same way." "No," I said. "He expects me to stay." Ryan flinched. I had meant it as an explanation, but it landed like cruelty. Maybe because it was both. He always talked about you like you were the one he could count on, Ryan said. He talked about you like you were the one worth watching. That isn't how it felt. Of course it wasn't. You were inside your version. He leaned against the porch railing. Dad used to make me show him my report cards before you showed him yours, he said, because yours were bad. They weren't bad. They were average. Ryan, you got a D in gym. I didn't dress out. You only had to change clothes. The locker room smelled weird. I laughed before I could stop myself. He smiled, then looked serious again. If I showed mine first, he'd talk about how much I was improving, he said. Then you'd bring home straight A's, and he'd say you were naturally smart. Like yours didn't take work. I remembered that. I had accepted naturally smart as praise because the alternative was asking why my effort had been erased. He made us compete over who had it easier, I said, and we both thought it was the other one. The lawnmower stopped. The sudden quiet made the street feel closer. Ryan took his hands from his pockets. I lied at dinner, he said. I knew you visited. I didn't know how often, but I knew. Then you challenged me. And I kept going because stopping would have made me look worse. You looked pretty bad anyway. I know. And at Briarwood? I panicked. Because Loretta made coffee. Because everyone knew you. I folded my arms. He said, I'm sorry. The apology did not open the sky. I did not feel lighter or healed or suddenly interested in hugging him. It sat between us like an object he had finally agreed to carry. You need to correct it, I said. I will. Not by saying you mixed up the schedule. I'll tell Jean. Paula, Walt, and Linda. Melissa already knows. She usually does. That's a separate problem. I'm aware. And Dad? Ryan's face changed. He knows, I said. I mean, do you want me to make him admit it? No. Then what? I don't know yet. That was the truth. Ryan called Aunt Jean from his car. I knew because she called me 8 minutes later. Your brother explained everything, she said. Did he? He said you went almost every day, most days, and that he was upset and said something untrue. He lied. Aunt Jean sighed. Yes, he lied. The word cost her. I appreciated that. I'm sorry I repeated what he told me, she said. I should have asked you. Thank you. I still think you two need to focus on your father. We are. You know what I mean? I do. She almost started another sentence, then stopped herself. That's all, she said. I love you. I love you too. Paula sent an apology by text. Walt and Linda did not contact me, which I preferred. Melissa sent one line. He told me he apologized without a but. I'm documenting the occasion. Ryan corrected Tom's team that afternoon. I owe Claire a correction. She visited Dad at Briarwood nearly every morning and did far more than drop off laundry. I was jealous, and I lied about it at dinner. Dad's recovery would not be where it is without her. No emojis. I read it 3 times. The first response came from Aunt Jean. Thank you for being honest. We all love both of you. Paula added a heart. Linda wrote, Claire, your dedication was extraordinary. Dad left the group. Ryan called me immediately. He's furious. At you? At both of us. I didn't post it. He says you made me. Did I? No. Then tell him. I did. He said that was worse. Dad did not call me for 4 days. Friday morning remained on the calendar. I went anyway. Marisol opened the door wearing her strawberry lunch bag over one shoulder. He is pouting, she whispered. I've met him. He told me family business is private. What did you say? That he discusses it loudly enough to become neighborhood business. From the kitchen, Dad called, I can hear you. Marisol smiled. See? Dad sat at the table in a clean navy shirt he had buttoned himself. The second button was in the 3rd hole, making the fabric pull sideways, but I did not fix it. His oatmeal was untouched. You came, he said. It's Friday. Thought you might be too busy collecting praise. Marisol looked at me, then opened a cabinet and became intensely interested in cinnamon. I didn't ask Ryan to post anything. You told him to correct people. Yes, Same thing. No. He chose the group. Dad pushed his oatmeal away. Family disagreements don't belong on phones. Then he shouldn't have lied at a family dinner. Ryan apologized. Yes. So what else do you want? I poured coffee. From him? Nothing right now. Dad stared at me. I sat down. Did you know I was at Briarwood almost every morning? Here we go. It's a yes or no question. I knew you came. Did you tell Ryan I only brought laundry? I don't remember every conversation. You remember where Mom put coffee in 2009. That's different. Did you tell him? Dad picked up his spoon, then put it down. He was feeling guilty. So you made my visit smaller. I said you came before work. You couldn't stay long. I stayed through therapy. Sometimes. Most mornings. Why does every minute matter? It didn't until you both erased all of them. Marisol carried her coffee into the family room. As she passed, she touched my shoulder once. Dad saw. Now the aid's on your side. She has eyes. Everybody's on your side. That isn't what I want. Then what do you want? I wanted you to say one sentence at dinner. I was trying to keep the peace. No, you were keeping Ryan comfortable. He's been taking care of me. So had I. You want me to pick between you. I wanted you not to help him lie. Dad stood, pushing his chair back with his left hand. I'm doing my exercises. We're not finished. I am. He reached for the cane and walked toward the family room. His gait was still uneven, but he no longer dragged the right foot. Marisol looked up from the couch and then down at the cane, checking without making it obvious. I watched him go. His progress made me proud. His back made me furious. Ryan's condo was supposed to be ready by the end of the month. He told Dad at dinner on Sunday. I was there for coffee, sitting in Mom's old chair with my legs crossed. Melissa sat beside Ryan on the couch. She had started visiting Dad's house again, although Ryan still slept in the guest room. The contractor says 3 weeks, Ryan said. Dad's fork stopped over his plate. He said that last month. This time the cabinets are installed. Cabinets don't make a bathroom. The bathroom's done too. Waterworks? Yes. Hot? Both kinds. Dad put down the fork. You shouldn't rush. I'm not. New construction settles. It's not new construction. Walls moved. Ryan looked at me. I drank my coffee. Melissa said gently, he's still going to come over. I didn't say he wouldn't. No, she said. I'm saying it. Dad looked at her as if she had intruded on a private conversation while sitting at the same table. Marisol's here 3 mornings, Ryan said. Claire does Friday. I'll do Monday and 1 overnight. 1? We'll see how you're doing. I'm doing fine. You are. Then I don't need anybody. Ryan nodded. That's good, too. Dad looked trapped by his own improvement. He turned to me. You could come another day. No, not for care, just lunch. I can come for lunch sometimes. What day? We can decide each week, so no schedule. A visit isn't a shift. Dad leaned back. Your mother used to make Sunday dinner every week. Mom complained about it every Saturday. She still did it. Mom isn't here. He looked at his plate. The words felt harsher than I intended, but they were true enough that I did not take them back. After dinner, Dad asked me to stay while Ryan and Melissa went for a walk. He claimed the garbage disposal sounded wrong. I'm not fixing the disposal. You haven't heard it. I'm not turning it on. Might be dangerous. Then don't use it. He followed me to the front door. You always looked at things for me. I still will when I agree to. That doesn't mean anything. It means ask. Don't invent an emergency. He gripped the door frame with his left hand. You're different. I'm tired. I said Ryan was wrong. When? Just now. You said he apologized. Same thing. No. He looked toward the driveway. Ryan and Melissa were walking slowly along the sidewalk. Melissa spoke with her hands. Ryan was listening, or at least facing her. Dad lowered his voice. You got what you wanted. What did I want? Everybody knows you were there. That wasn't the whole injury. What else is there? You. His face closed. I left. The next week, Dad called on Tuesday evening and said he was dizzy. I stood so fast my chair rolled into the wall. Are you sitting down? Yes. Chest pain? No. Trouble breathing? No. Is your face drooping more than usual? What kind of question is that? A necessary one. My face is fine. Can you lift both arms? I'm not having another stroke. Then why did you say dizzy? Because I'm dizzy. Is Marisol there? She left hours ago. Where's Ryan? Melissa's. I took my keys, then stopped. Did you eat? Yes. What? Soup? Did you take your evening pills? Not yet. Check your blood pressure. I don't know how. The cuff is in the blue folder cabinet. He moved it. Ryan moved the cuff? No. The folder. Where? Same drawer. I closed my eyes. Get the cuff. I'll stay on the phone. He muttered while he walked. I heard the drawer open, papers shift, the cuff's Velcro rip. His blood pressure was normal. Drink water, I said. If the dizziness continues, call the nurse line. The number's on page 3. You could come. Do you need me or do you want company? Silence. Dad, what's the difference? One is an emergency. One is something you can ask for without scaring me. His breathing changed. I'm alone, he said. The honesty in those 2 words moved through me more quickly than any accusation. I can come for half an hour, I said. I'm not doing pills or dishes. I'm sitting with you. Fine. Say okay. Okay. When I arrived, he was in the recliner with a glass of water. He was not dizzy. We both knew it. I sat in Mom's chair. For several minutes, we watched a documentary about people restoring an old hotel. Dad criticized their electrical work. Then he said Ryan would have left that night. I turned down the television. What night? The dinner. If I'd called him a liar in front of everyone. You don't know that. He would have gotten mad. Yes. He might have gone back to Melissa's. Maybe. Dad looked at his right hand. He could open and close it now, slowly. You would still come Friday, he said. The room seemed to narrow around us. So you knew? I knew you'd be angry, but you knew I'd stay. He nodded, and that made it safe to hurt me. I didn't think of it like that. You never had to. He rubbed his thumb over his fingertips. I was scared he'd leave, he said. What about me? You don't leave. His voice held faith, almost pride. I stood. Dad looked up. You said half an hour. It's been half an hour. Claire. I picked up my purse. That is the cruelest compliment you've ever given me, I said. He stared at me. For once, I did not help him find the words. Dad did not call the next day. On Thursday evening, he left a voicemail. This isn't an emergency. I'm asking if you're still coming Friday. You can say no. I listened twice. Then I called back. I'm coming. 6:30. Yes. All right. He waited as if there should be more. Do you need anything? I asked. No. It was obviously a lie. Dad always needed something. But this time, he let the need remain his. Friday morning, he had already made oatmeal when I arrived. It was thick enough to patch drywall. Marisol leaves it in the pot too long, he said. Marisol isn't here Fridays. I followed her instructions. You may have discovered the problem. He pushed a bowl toward me. I ate at home. Could eat again. I'm not eating that once. Dad took a spoonful and chewed it. You chew oatmeal? I asked. This batch, yes. I poured coffee and sat across from him. The blue folder was on the counter in full view. His pills were organized correctly. The laundry hamper remained downstairs, unmentioned. After a while, he said, I shouldn't have called you dizzy. No, I was lonely. I know. Didn't want to say it. I know that too. He looked at the bowl. Your mother knew without me saying. Mom guessed. Half the time she guessed wrong and you went along with it. She knew me. So do I. I'm asking you not to make that my job every minute. Dad worked his spoon through the oatmeal. I'm sorry, he said. The words were quiet enough to disappear beneath the refrigerator hum. For what? He looked irritated, then caught himself. For making you think I was sick. For the dinner. For not saying you came. Those are 3 different things. I know. Why didn't you say it? His mouth tightened at the weak corner. I told you. You said Ryan might leave. He might have. So you protected him. Dad nodded. and you believed I would stay. Another nod. I need you to understand that wasn't love. His eyes lifted. I love you, I know. But that choice wasn't love. He stared at me for a long time. All right, he said. It was not a satisfying answer. It was not supposed to be. Dad had spent 68 years treating disagreement like a mechanical problem. Identify the noise, tighten something, move on. Sitting with what he had done required a kind of stillness he had never practiced. I stayed until 7:30. When I stood, he glanced toward the sink. 2 bowls and the oatmeal pot waited there. He said, "See you Sunday. See you Sunday." I left the dishes. Ryan moved back to his condo 3 weeks later. Dad reacted to the approaching move by discovering problems in the house. The furnace clicked. The garage door shook. The bathroom faucet made a sound nobody else could hear. Ryan inspected each one until Melissa caught him taking a video of the bathroom faucet. "It's water," she said. "That's the sound." Dad folded his arms. Was quieter before the grab bar. "The grab bar is in the shower," I said. "Same pipes." "No," Ryan and I said together. Dad looked offended by our cooperation. The night before Ryan moved, the 3 of us sat at the kitchen table with the calendar. Marisol would stay Tuesday through Thursday mornings. Ryan would come Monday evening and sleep over Thursday because Friday was his lightest workday. The home health nurse no longer needed weekly visits. Dad's outpatient appointments had dropped to twice a week. "What if I need something Wednesday night?" Dad asked. "Call," Ryan said. "What if the phone doesn't work? Then you won't be able to call. That's why somebody should be here." I said, "Do you want more overnight help?" "No strangers sleeping here." Then Wednesday is quiet. Dad tapped the calendar. Claire could come. "I do Sunday coffee. That's not an overnight." "Correct." He looked at Ryan. "Your guest room's better than that condo. My condo has walls now. Thin walls. You've never been inside. I know construction." Ryan closed the calendar. "I'm moving tomorrow." Dad's expression hardened. Ryan did not add a reason, apologize, or promise that nothing would change. He let Dad be unhappy. The next morning, Dad watched him carry his suitcase to the car. "You forgot the espresso machine," Dad called. "Melissa still has it. She held that hostage a long time." "She owns it," I said. Ryan put the suitcase into his trunk and came back to hug Dad. Dad accepted the hug stiffly. "I'll be here Monday," Ryan said. "I might have plans." "Great. I could. I hope you do." Dad's face moved through 3 possible arguments and chose none. After Ryan left, I expected Dad to ask me to stay. Instead, he walked to the porch chair and sat with his coffee. "Too quiet?" I asked. "Peaceful." "Sure. Birds are loud. They've been there the whole time. Couldn't hear them over Ryan." I sat beside him for 10 minutes. When I got up, he said, "You don't have to go." "I know." That mattered more than it should have. "I'm going anyway," I said. "All right." Marisol became part of Dad's life by refusing to ask his permission for every ordinary thing. She made eggs in the good pan, moved the cinnamon back to the correct side of the sugar, and discovered he would do his hand exercises if she played old soul music and ignored him. Dad described her as bossy but punctual. Marisol described him as improving but Tom. When the agency suggested reducing her to 2 mornings, Dad said 3 was fine. He told me as if he were doing her a favor. I did not correct him. Ryan kept his 2 fixed days. Sometimes he brought takeout. Sometimes he cooked. Once he called me to ask why Dad's meatloaf tasted like crackers, because he puts crackers in it. "How many?" Until Mom yelled, "That isn't a measurement. Now you understand the recipe." Dad still tried to put us against each other. If Ryan forgot to take the trash out, Dad mentioned that I never forgot. If I arrived late on Sunday, he said Ryan came exactly when promised. The first few times, we reacted automatically. Then Ryan began answering, "Call me careless without making Claire perfect." I started saying, "Be mad at me without giving Ryan a medal." Dad hated both sentences. He also learned them. One Sunday, I arrived 20 minutes late because the cafe line had wrapped around the counter. Dad opened the door with his cane. "You're late." "I know, I was worried." I texted. "I don't check texts every minute. I'm sorry I worried you." He waited for me to blame traffic, the cafe, or him. I didn't. "All right," he said. We drank coffee at the kitchen table. He told me Marisol had beaten him at gin rummy and probably cheated. I told him Nadine had finally replaced her red glasses after one lens fell out during a budget meeting. Dad asked about my work, not whether I could leave early, not whether Friday's appointment could be moved, just my work. I told him Mike had somehow clocked 16 hours while on vacation and blamed the payroll system. "Was he here?" Dad asked. "No." "Then don't pay him." That was my professional assessment. Dad laughed. The apology did not arrive all at once. It showed up in these small gaps where the old request would have been. Dad started asking, "Do you have time?" and accepting when I said no. If he wanted company, he called it company. If he needed a ride, he asked before the appointment appeared on my calendar. Sometimes he backslid. So did I. I still took the laundry bag home once because it was sitting by the door and picking it up was easier than deciding whether I wanted to. Halfway to my car, I turned around and handed it to Dad. I changed my mind. He looked at the bag. "Machine does the work. Ryan knows where the machine is." Dad's mouth twitched. Monday. He left the bag by the stairs. Months after the stroke, Dad invited us to dinner. He called it a regular dinner, then made roast beef, mashed potatoes, green beans, and Mom's apple crisp. Marisol had helped with the chopping that morning, though Dad claimed he had merely allowed her to participate. Ryan came with Melissa. Aunt Jean was invited but canceled because of a cold, leaving only the four of us around the table. Dad used his right hand to cut the roast beef. Slowly, carefully, without anyone pretending not to watch. Ryan raised his glass. To the old man doing everything the doctors said he wouldn't. "No doctor said that," I told him. "It's a toast. Don't audit it." Melissa smiled into her wine. Ryan continued. "Seriously, Dad, you worked your ass off. We had some rough nights, but we got you home, kept you moving, got through therapy." Dad put down his knife. Claire was there. Ryan stopped. Dad looked at him. "At Briarwood, every morning." "Most mornings," I said automatically. Dad turned to me. "Let me finish." I closed my mouth. He rested his right hand flat on the table. The fingers were almost straight now. "She came before work," he said. "Brought my clothes, sat through therapy, helped me eat, washed my hair when I couldn't do it. I knew she was there." Ryan nodded. "I know. No, I'm saying it." The room went very still. When Ryan said, "You didn't visit," I let him, Dad told me. Then I helped him. "I made what you did sound smaller because I thought he'd leave if I embarrassed him. I thought you'd stay even if I hurt you." He swallowed. That was wrong. No one rushed to fill the silence. Dad looked down at his plate. "I'm sorry, Claire." He did not ask whether I forgave him. He did not explain that he had been frightened or recovering or trying to keep the family together. He let the apology remain uncomfortable and incomplete. I reached across the table and put my hand over his. "Thank you." His fingers closed slowly around mine. Then Melissa said, "The green beans are getting cold." Dad looked at her. "They're overcooked anyway." "You cooked them," Ryan said. Marisol distracted me. We laughed, and the evening moved forward without pretending nothing had happened. I did not become Dad's morning shift again. Marisol kept her 3 days. Ryan kept Monday evening and Thursday overnight. I kept Sunday coffee plus lunches and rides when I chose them. The following Sunday, Dad asked whether I could take his laundry. No, didn't think so. Ryan knows where the washing machine is. He uses too much detergent. Tell him. I have. Tell him again. You enjoy it. Dad smiled. I do. On my way home, I stopped at the cafe near my house. The woman behind the counter asked what I wanted. Dark roast, 1 cream, no sugar. For here or to go? I looked at the empty table by the window. For here. She handed me the cup. I sat down while it was still hot, with nowhere else I'd promised to be.